Alright, we're live. Welcome to the Season 72 VHLM Draft. I'm the main host, Razor, and I'm joined by Doomsday.
Howdy, folk. Believe it or not, I'm not self-conscious of my voice. I'm here.
I'm also joined by Cole.
Hello?
And our resident commissioner, Diamond Ace, if he's actually around.
That would be me.
How's everyone feeling? Everyone excited?
Good.
Yeah, first draft.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that for you.
This is my first one.
Yeah.
Oh god, I'm the only vet here right now. I guess DA counts, but
It's like
Yeah, because I definitely have managed VHLM before.
I
oh man.
GM the Storm back when they were in Oslo. That
Oh wow.
was
Oh, right,
season
you did.
35 to 37, which would have
Yeah, that was a while
Yeah.
ago.
Would have been right in the middle of when I was Calgary.
didn't catch whatever you said. The audio decided to skip at a very important moment.
Oh.
I said it was when I was Calgary.
Doom and Cole getting some love in the chat already.
Love to see it.
Gotta love it.
Of course, for whatever reason, people are like, doesn't want to talk, or like, 'cause every single time they have these voice chats, I'm on my Xbox, on Xbox Live. I mean, I can't be talking two places at the same time.
Yeah, I get that. I appreciate it, Frosty. But who do we think goes first overall here?
I think it has to be Twist, right? I mean, he's got a 20 TP gap between the next top prospects.
I would expect to. I gotta pull up my list on another page here.
And the draft is open.
All right.
We're officially live. Mexico is on the clock with their first overall pick. And god damn it, I can't remember how to pop up my chat.
Yeah, they hid that setting away for some reason.
Ah, whatever. It's fine. I have a big enough monitor that I can just kind of pull them up side by side. Just have to make everything a nice rectangle down the middle of my screen. Oh well. Who do we have? And there we have it. Chris Highlands goes
Wow.
first. Except, oh, did they do the thing where I'm gonna have
You have to refresh it, yeah.
God damn it.
There it is. Now it should be good.
Okay. It should be good now.
Yeah.
Well,
We can always cross our fingers.
yeah. Worst that happens is I have to hit
There we
F5
go.
a lot. Oh yeah, it seems to be working now. So Twist doesn't go first. Not the first one
Yeah.
off the board.
You can't go wrong with Highlands either. He's a great member, really high up there.
Oh yeah. He would have been ranked second, just slightly ahead of Timothy Brown, who's a first player. Now, what does Dill do at second overall?
I couldn't tell you what goes through Dill's head, so I have no idea.
I couldn't tell you either, but all I know is he's not taking twists. Oh,
Yep.
there we have it.
There's Brown.
Ferk goes second overall, with twists now dropping to third.
Hey y'all.
There's now
Howdy.
almost a 40 TP gap. I guess everyone welcome Hatter to the stream. Kind of jumped.
Day late, $1 short as usual.
I'm gonna need to bump you up. Talk again, Hatter.
Hello, hello.
Okay, that should be a bit better. Cole's up. First pick
I am.
as a GM.
Big moment for the franchise.
Where are you going? Where are you going with this? You have to talk about your pick here, since you're on
Yeah.
stream.
So if I hadn't traded for a center in the offseason, I would go Twist easy. But going for Frosty here, because that veteran presence of being a VHL GM, and he's definitely going to cap every week. Just, I feel like that outweighs the gains I would get from taking Twist, especially with his first line center being there already.
Yeah, and I mean, this early on, you're picking between somebody that's going to cap by playoffs and somebody that's going to cap by playoffs. It really doesn't matter what you do in the regular season.
Exactly.
Oh, for sure. And Frostbeard, definitely that veteran presence helps a lot.
This season for sure, I want to have someone who has this
Saskatoon, we're
experience.
pretty disappointed about that. We really come back.
Oh boy.
They
We
cut out a
wanted
bit there.
Yeah, you're roboting a little bit. But Saskatoon's on the board with back-to-back picks.
Yep.
Do we see Twists and ADV go here?
It's like
1,
things
2.
was we want to bring all of our boys back with the second pick that's already.
I see you.
Twist finally gets his selection at 4th overall.
Could have fallen a lot
Hey,
worse.
you guys don't want him? We'll take.
I mean, yeah, it's not a bad mentality to have at that point.
I mean, what top TP in the draft, and he drops it. Thank you.
Yeah.
I guess people weren't looking for a center as much though.
Yeah. And of course,
Which
picking
is
up
odd
advantage.
because center is not exactly a deep position in this draft, which makes it kind of odd. But I don't know, because I know Dill originally wanted to trade up and get Twists at second,
That
but
kind of
obviously
fell through
that
a little.
that entire thing just exploded.
Yeah, that was a mess.
Yeah, it kind of blew
And
up
as a
bit.
result, now we have a big time shakeup.
Yeah.
Mexico back on the clock. Another brain that's difficult to read.
I was gonna say
Matza,
definitely bummed about not getting Brown back, but when
Yeah.
you get the top TP guy at 4th, and then you pick up a top defenseman 5th, can't beat that.
oh for
No.
sure. I kind of forget Matza's been around for quite some time now. He feels like he's one of the new GMs as well, but I think he's been around 4 seasons now.
Has it really been 4?
He came in right after, like I think 68, when right after DMAX took over Philly, if I remember
Oh, wow.
correctly.
He's been there as long as I've been AGM, so yeah, since
Oh
68.
god, yeah, so since 68 then.
Because I remember him. I don't remember him as anything other than Mexico.
Yeah.
There you go for Kamenov at 6 overall.
Big Titty Smitty. He's pretty big in a couple other leagues. I believe he's involved in PBE, which is where I know him from, but I think he's in a couple others as well.
Yeah.
Been very active too.
Put out a massive article today, like over 2,000 words.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I think he had 2,500 in the one, and he was planning to continue but split it because of the way it works
I'll
in
go
our
drop
system.
him a like right now.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And that's not even counting all the Russian he has in it.
Wait, yeah, Jesus, those Russian.
Yeah,
What the fuck?
because rather than translating it, he put it in Russian for us to then have to use translate.
Oh, of
I love
course.
that.
He has Vladimir Putin as Kamenov's translator, so.
I didn't realize he got Victor in on that.
Proto with his first pick as a GM coming.
Oh yeah, we got a lot of first GMs, don't we?
Oh. There you go. Pop Tart goes 7th overall. Safe pick. Bring back the old GM.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I
Surprising.
think that one's pretty fitting.
Yeah. 38 TP bank though. Wonder what's going through his head right now.
Claimed practice facility for this week, so maybe just waiting to see what the team's needs would be.
Yeah, possibly. But Smitty says there's a part 2 already in the works.
Ooh.
So yeah.
Good
Oh
stuff.
Lord.
McWolf says Dill played us. And assuming referring to Brown.
Something like that.
You love to see it.
It's because they definitely wanted to move up for twists, but then an odd twist of fate, we ended up getting the guy they originally wanted at the spot that we moved down to.
That was a bit of chaos, but hey, in the end, the
What's a
better
draft
team
without chaos?
prevailed. I mean, if you cause that much chaos, I'm not sure you then deserve to still get the best player in the draft.
Yeah, it stirs things up a little bit.
So, 8th overall goes Michael Mack.
Bringing him back to the Hounds. He was our top scorer last season. He's going to hopefully do it again this season.
61 points and a negative 63.
Yeah,
Ouch.
we're going to brush over that part.
No, brush over the you sucked part.
It was a rough year. I fortunately didn't have to endure too much of it.
It was definitely a rough season considering I had to drop the ELO bracket to include you guys towards the end there.
Yeah, it was going up at the end though. I'd like to point that out.
It actually did go up at the end.
It did. You started getting a little bit better.
Yes. It's clearly all of my knowledge and skill.
No,
I'm
totally
just going to
wasn't.
be curious to see what the statistics are like this year, considering we're going to have a lot more quality goalies.
Yeah,
So I think a lot of the
goalies.
elevated numbers you see are because there's so many teams that have terrible goalies.
That's a
Yeah.
good point.
Terrible goalies for sure.
There's one thing I know, it's if you're doing well, it's all you, and if you're doing poorly, it's the hockey sim.
Yeah.
STHS is a bitch, man.
9th overall goes Victor, I'm assuming Myers.
Think so.
IR.
Oh yeah.
IR's got to
Yeah,
go
same
up
last name as he used for a player like 30 seasons ago.
Man, I forget how old IR is. Because my knowledge of IR is, oh, he got San Diego half a season before I picked up Minnesota. Not he's been sporadically GMing for, I don't know, since season 20.
All I know is
Yeah,
that the dude's enormous.
For literal
Yeah.
years.
Dude
Yeah,
is
he
a
was
beast.
helping me out with Ottawa back in like 20 to 26.
Oh, wow. It's way.
I actually got to spend season 70 with him as one of his first rounders.
It was a deep first round. I don't think there's really a reach or a go wrong here.
Yeah, there's not a lot of places you can lose out here.
Yeah, and other than like you guys were saying earlier, you're gonna get 250 by playoff time unless somebody just goes completely inactive. So really, with the first round, you're pretty much drafting for either positional needs or locker room presence to get your newer guys to actually claim.
I think one of the big themes so far is that you've got a lot of teams trying to get their boys back from the season before,
Yeah.
keep the locker room going the way it was. Working out for some teams, not so much for others.
We're gonna have almost a
Thanks, Dill.
entirely new roster in Minnesota. There's a few standbys, but
I think we only have 3 active returning or 4.
it's McPine, and then
Yeah, of course, the draft we don't need a goalie or a goalie sticking around for.
yeah, Squirrely Dan.
Yeah.
When was Burrows?
Woody McPine,
Yeah, got
future stud.
Oh, for sure. I'm excited to see him move up.
yeah,
It's
but
with how late he went in the VHL draft, he's definitely got that sleeper potential.
Now, this is a user I don't know. Keith Kristianovich, and the user's Boragina.
Oh, Boragina's been around for years.
He's an old school guy. He was actually around when I was back in like the 30s, 40s.
Constant welfare and trivia answers, so he'll be a consistent player for
Consistent
sure.
earner.
And
He was
once again,
someone that Wolfie and I really wanted to get back because he's been a big part of our locker room. Really active guy. Like I said, he's a veteran of these leagues. He's gonna have a good player. This player was already looking good last year, so now we get to bring him back, keep him in the fold.
That'll be definitely helpful.
another
11th
player
overall.
that I know basically just from Moscow.
11th overall, Jay Jones. Users TT the T.
That's another one of our Sasky boys we won't get to bring home. We had 3 we were hoping to bring back. We got 1.
Ooh.
It's weird because I was thinking that we were going to get Timothy Brown and Jay Jones back, and I thought that we were going to lose Boragina elsewhere, but instead we got the one that I thought we were going to lose. And we lost the ones I thought we were going to keep.
So Jones is an SBA welfare guy. He's pretty good, active.
It's been a consistent earner, and then especially at center. Center is a position that's not too deep in this draft, so that's a pretty solid pickup in the first round.
For sure. Though he does only have a 40 face-off as a center, so he hasn't even touched face-offs.
It's something you can convince him to do during the season.
Oh, likely.
And honestly, in the M, I don't really think that's that big an issue.
No.
It's
Even
not
if you can
as
get it up to like
huge of a
50,
deal as it is in the
55.
pros. It's like even if you add like 15, 20 TP to it, you'll still have this pretty solid record.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, I usually only see about 55 is what you need. Cool, let's talk about your pick, Joseph Gaynor.
Gaynor is another one of those guys we had in the locker room last year. Awesome presence. Really just a guy we wanted to bring back in and keep in our program because he was super passionate about the team. And he was,
Theme continues.
yeah.
Bring the boys home.
Bring
Yeah.
the boys home. It's what it's all about.
I'm miffed about this because I had the next pick.
Yeah, I know you wanted him.
I want him. So now I got to figure out what I'm doing here. That won't be too hard. Lots of good members still.
I love seeing the waivers, guys, because it's just reminding me about the people I was writing about like all last season.
It's awesome to see them get their day. I know Saskatoon, we had a really nice group of waiver guys. I mean, 3 of them are first rounders this year.
That's good stuff.
I'm gonna cut in on you guys for a minute to describe to Andre LeBastard what the extra rounds are about. It's the added picks for the expansion team. So round 11, round 12, and so on, where it's just one pick. That's what that's for.
Now it just happens that the 13th overall pick was then traded,
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
but in theory that was a Buccaneers pick.
Yeah.
I was
Buccaneers Marauders.
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 Ooh,
Oh man.
already
Wow.
happened.
Marauders,
This
Land
is your
Pirates.
They're in
This is
Miami, they're not
my
Tampa.
league for my coverage, and I don't know one of the team's
Yep.
names.
At least they're a brand new team. It's not like
Yeah,
they've been
to be
around
fair,
for
I-
30 seasons.
Haven't written about them yet, other than saying they're gonna happen.
I mean, I
The
don't
only
think
one-
they don't even have a player yet. There's not even a roster.
They had one
They have
player.
one. I sent them
One
They got
player.
traded,
inactive.
The only one that really has pressure to already know the team would be me, considering, I kind of run the league. So
I mean, I would have pressure too being in the deciding of said team.
yeah, true.
User, I picked Liam Flatten. File 99.
Yeah, that was a good
He
pick.
responded really well to a lot of our questions that we sent out, and I was a fan of just his consistency and his updates. Like even this
And-
week is 2 days in, he's up to 23. Like he's grabbed a lot of his stuff.
And in general, he just seems to have a really positive attitude when interacting on the forums and everything. So definitely somebody you want in the locker room.
Yeah, you definitely want to grab those guys because I mean, if you've got like a solid guy with a solid presence, you can teach all the other stuff.
Oh,
As
yeah.
long as they've got that mindset, you can sculpt them into something great.
Definitely.
I've always said with the hard part's not being a GM, the hard part's being the coach, which is why I've had her.
I just talk to them sometimes and forget to do press conference, which I will do right now.
Was that 3 weeks in a row you didn't get it out? Come on.
I think I got it
it's
last
still
week.
It's still Monday. I'll give you a break on this one.
Yeah,
it's
it's
Monday,
Monday.
and it's
It's
holiday money. 13th overall, Jeffrey Pines goes to Mexico. User Rory guy returning home, played 22 games and had 1 assist in Mexico last season.
1 assist.
Yep. A lot of games, a lot of nothing. But nice to bring a guy back home.
Yeah, and now he's developed a little more. I'm sure he'll be fine.
Anyone know what the view count ended up being for the VHL draft last night?
I don't think it got much higher than like 35.
According
I don't recall ever looking.
Didn't even watch.
Interesting. According to ours, we have 44.
Let's go.
50 according to me.
Sounds like
Someone
sounds
Let's
like
get
the
in
minors is a
trouble.
little bit better. Apparently, I bullied Rory. I don't know what I've done.
How did Rory get bullied?
I don't know. Apparently, I said something.
I would imagine talking about the 1 assist.
Yeah.
Oh
I
yeah,
guess so.
that might have been it.
Hmm.
It is good. It's better than 0. It could have been worse.
It could always be worse. Well, I mean, unless I guess he had 0. Not sure if it could get much worse.
Though I
Yeah.
do think when I was a VHLM player, I got more assists and I was a goalie.
I think you're right. I think I was in the same boat.
Wait, actually, I'm curious now. I have to look that up.
Yeah. So 15th overall, went with Joe Exotic here. He's one of the highest TP guys left on the board.
He's been a pretty consistent earner too.
Yeah.
Bad coach, Rory. Yeah, I feel it.
And then he's running really well with the whole meme name, and he's owning it.
Yeah. He missed last week, which I don't know if he just didn't do stuff or if he didn't pick, but in the end, we needed a strong forward, and he seemed to be kind of our favored guy.
Also, I just looked it up. I did, in fact, have 2 assists.
Oh.
Well, excuse us.
That was also a championship team, though. So
I knew.
I'm never gonna hear the end of it from Baraka, I swear.
Number 16, Saskatoon. We decided to go with Dan Bailey Jr. here.
WCats,
It's a good
best guy.
pickup.
He was actually one where, like, we actually sent out some interviews to guys we expected to go like second or later, and he was one where we had an interview with him, and we just really loved everything he had to say, and we're like, we got to grab him, we got to take him.
Yep. I didn't think anyone would take him this early. I thought we were pretty safe, kind of letting him slide. I didn't think we'd necessarily get him at 24, but I thought there was a decent chance. Great.
Wait, how many games did Rory play? I need to know this now.
Rory played 20.
Oh, that means he was actually at a better clip than I was.
I mean,
So I had
I would
49
assume
starts.
so. You are a goalie.
I was splitting starts though, but yeah, it
Yeah.
was two assists and 49 starts versus 1 goal in 20 games. So you have me beat.
Beaver keeps falling at this point. 191 as a right winger. And Halifax reaches for James Rose.
Interesting.
This isn't bringing. Oh. I would have said this is to smite Mexico, but they're so far down, it's not. 144 TP. Users Matty Ice. I'm assuming new? I don't recognize the name. But
And since we're on the topic of falling, this next pick's gonna be easy for me. You guys just don't seem to be interested in goalies right now.
It's a very interesting situation here because usually with goalies, you have maybe 2 or 3 worth drafting. So as a result, they would go really high. All of a sudden, now you've got a ton of them, which means they're going to fall.
I'm just surprised they've fallen this far.
I really thought for sure that Jordan Montano was going to be going in the top 3. So I'm really
Yeah.
surprised to see him still
Yep.
here in the middle of the second.
Well, he's
I
not here
remember
anymore. He's mine now.
I remember the 62 draft, and I ended up having to kind of go the opposite with it. I ended up taking cricketers first overall with like 142, just to make sure I got one.
Yeah, I know that's usually how it's been.
It's always like the waiting game too, like a game of chicken to see which GM will break first and pick him.
well, that's what happened last season. I had IR take a goalie at 7, so it meant at 8 I could either risk another round or another 10 picks, but Yukon was in need of an active goalie, so I ended up saying, I'll have to take him. That worked out, but it
I
kind
do
of
seem to
bites using a first round.
Definitely. I do seem to recall Diamond Ace missing out on a couple goalies in his inaugural Prague draft.
Yeah, it was not great. Because it's like nobody would have expected, and you in particular, nobody would have expected Moscow to be taking a goalie there.
Yeah.
That's
well,
true.
Vic knew May wasn't coming back,
Yeah,
and so he wanted to hit the competitive window. But
and
anyway,
of course, Sean being Sean,
that was
took
the
a
bigger
goalie.
surprise, I think.
Yeah. It's like there was no way I thought I'd end up getting stuck with Grimaldi,
Yeah.
but you know. And then I took Crawford the following year, who was supposed to be the one safe goalie
Savior.
that year.
Oh. Philadelphia reaches past and takes Jer Lefeb. I got nothing on that last name.
I think I remember someone
Lefebvre?
saying before, isn't it like Lefevre? Like you don't just ignore the B.
I'm too English for
I
that.
think it's Lefebvre. Isn't it close to what Noah used to have?
I mean,
Yeah, I remember a player that was named similar to that,
Yeah.
but it didn't have the B.
It
One
didn't
of
have
the-
the B.
one of the guys
yeah,
in chat just
Noah-
said Lefebvre.
That's probably right.
Yeah.
It's the same pronunciation as the goalie brand, but I don't know how to pronounce that either. So
The sole purpose of this name was to make us trip over ourselves on the draft stream. Mission accomplished, bud.
I mean, it's not that difficult to do. None of us are very good with English, despite being native
I mean,
English
I was
speakers.
pretty close to right.
English, who needs that?
I mean, also not fair. You're almost double my age.
Fair point.
Yeah.
Way to make me sound old. Thanks.
Are you older than me?
Well, it depends who is who.
34 for me.
Yeah, you got me by 2 years.
Oh man, everyone's so old.
And to think
Wait, are you
when
the
leagues like
youngest
this started,
in the call
everybody
race?
I
was like
do believe
15,
so.
16. Now you got people that are even older.
Got a guy that's like 60.
Proto finally takes the
Steve?
falling Stallion.
Steve, yeah.
Stallion fell
Oh,
to
wow.
20th despite being a 191. So, did someone tank his draft stock, or
I don't know what the
I don't
story
know
is.
because
Yeah, I don't know.
I've been seeing him do stuff, so I'm kind of surprised to see that happen.
he's
You know, he was posting in the stream chat earlier.
that seems like a deep fall for a guy that high up. Ex-Houston alumni had 95 points last season.
Active
Through
every week for claims.
Apparently,
Yep.
Smitty is 69 years old. Nice.
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 I do keep forgetting that there's like 40 people watching and that they might be responding to things I'm saying.
Yeah. If anyone in the chat ever has questions, feel free, send them in, and we'll talk. That's what we're here for. We're here for some fun.
Having a good time.
Here for a good time, but not a long time. Well, I mean,
Submit questions.
It's how these drafts usually go. It'll be a long time.
I was gonna say
Fair.
define long time. I mean,
And we have our first sub 100 TPE pick.
Oh, do we?
whoa,
Yes.
that
It's exciting.
seems like a big reach to me.
Hiroshima Wakaro.
Considering
Snusu.
there's almost a
It's wild. 191 all the way down to 95.
there's
I was just about to say that's a huge drop in TV from one pick to the next.
it is
That's probably a
Snusu.
member pick more than it is a TPE pick because it's Snus, who's a known member.
I mean, if he's going to be earning, so what?
Yeah, he's gonna earn more.
And then you got a shot here that he could potentially be down next season too.
That's true.
Yeah.
You could be getting 2 years out of him instead of just one.
Snusu
And that
is,
very well may be the end goal.
it's great because Snusu decided to like actually start earning after we got knocked out.
Of course.
So
Can you
Smitty
make
wants
Prague
to-
make the playoffs?
Yeah, who is that?
that's Frostbeard.
Oh,
Ah.
Yeah.
He must have our picks.
Beaver says no idea why I fell, but the Vegas hype is real. Glad to hear that, man.
Just so you know, Beaver, they do have a casino in their locker room. Enjoy.
Oh, that doesn't surprise
Hey,
me.
actually,
There
it's
actually
filled
is
with
a
loot
casino in there.
boxes.
Yeah,
That's
the
amazing.
casino bot. And then Smitty wants to know what I thought about his responses to the draft survey. It definitely made me think about not drafting you solely based on it.
They were very well,
He was
Underwhelming.
just trying to make sure you weren't a robot.
yeah, exactly.
I mean, honestly, if I could get a bot to send out all those messages one by one, it would have been nice. So again, I'm assuming Greckart, Griffalcon, like Griffin Falcon.
Maybe. Probably
Me.
close enough.
You tell me, Doom. It's your pick. Or I guess
Just
McWolf's
be-
pick via you.
Well, just because we picked him doesn't mean we know how to pronounce his name.
That's not fair.
I'm curious to see like just how many players I've been pronouncing in my head wrong all these years.
Oh, for sure.
Just
Shark,
because I've never spoken them or heard them spoken.
Yeah.
Like this entire universe that we've immersed ourselves in and we don't even know how to pronounce them.
yeah, that is probably one of the easier picks of a goalie for sure. That's Shark. The man is auto 12. He will
I mean,
be active.
that was exactly the mindset there. I mean, you can't go wrong with an auto 12. And then you consider that he's my athletic director at EFL, so pretty sure I can get him to do that auto 12 every week.
Threaten to stop claiming yourself.
Yeah, I mean, he can't have his quarterbacks.
Well, bastard to Miami. That's a good pick. He was in my locker room last season. He's a super active
Yeah.
guy. Love to see it.
Well, how about that? That's the first draft pick in Miami history.
Yeah, that's a
I was
big
Yeah.
pick.
about to say that. Miami,
Congratulations to you.
again, it seems like a reach when you have 145, 130, 109 on the board. There's a couple guys you think you wouldn't reach past, but LeBastard he was on my board. He was one of the guys we wanted for sure.
That's
I
a
figure-
definite trivia question a couple seasons down the road.
Oh yeah, no, he's a historic player now.
I figure considering they don't have any picks until 23rd, they're probably trying to take some guy that has a shot of being around next year.
Exactly.
for sure.
Building up that roster.
I mean, nothing against Miami, but I mean, yeah, it's pretty unlikely with what they've got that they're going to be able to immediately field a contender. So you're going to want to build up for next season, start laying the foundation this year.
I mean, there's a reason I talk to them to get their picks.
Yeah.
Gotta get those
You
high
try
picks.
to get everybody's picks.
Shh, we don't talk about that.
So DA, what was the thought process behind like assigning them the draft picks that they got? Did you guys do it randomly or was it decided upon?
There was a long discussion
There-
involved, and then
yeah.
another discussion by the commissioners on top of that.
Okay.
There,
Yeah, it was like I actually thought it was 9th instead of 10th. But
yeah, the post came out as
I
9th, and
remember
was
that.
wrong.
I felt like
then
it
they
should have been
clarified
earlier.
that it was 10th.
So 24th, we take the terrible Trivium of Dermeister.
Welcome to the storm.
That
So
is
we
a
had-
fantastic pick.
Feel the storm.
So we had TT the T, and now we have the terrible Trivium.
Yeah. Seemed like an easy pick.
So many
He's a
T's.
older guy, pension, so he'll, even if he doesn't make a presence in the locker room, we know he's going to earn.
Yeah, he's a guy that's been around a while. He definitely knows how to make a good player.
Yeah. Big Al, Miami's AGM, up in chat saying he's pumped about the inaugural season. I can't wait for it to crumble.
So mean.
I
Good
mean,
Lord. That
are we being honest here?
mean,
When's the
we
last time an
should.
expansion team did well in the first season in the minors? Majors,
Halifax.
different story. That's
I
a
was
ways
gonna say,
back.
yes, Sean was just talking about that the other day, that inaugural season at Halifax, how many good players, memorable team it was, but they ended up falling just a little.
Cool.
So that sounds like a VSN article to me, Doom.
It does.
Speaking of Sean, we're gonna pick him up here with our 25th to
That sounds
bolster
like
our
a good
decor a little
deep
bit.
rewind article
That would be
for
fun.
expansion seasons,
What's the
or at least
over?
some of them. I don't want my thumbs to fall off as I type them.
You need to get yourself a computer, man.
I do have one. It's just when you have a almost 2-year-old running around, it's a lot easier to just do it on your
Ah.
phone.
Fair
That's
play.
fair.
Especially this kid goes after
Oh.
every piece of technology in the house, and the computer's just an easier
Big Al asks, "What's the over under?" I think I'll give Miami
win one game.
I think I'll give them 20 games. I think if they can go to over 20 games, they've succeeded.
Like, especially if they manage to pick up a solid goalie, there's a good chance that they could steal some.
Oh, for sure. Goalies will be a huge game stealer this season, especially with the randomness. Also, Cole, you want to talk about your pick here?
Yeah, Sean is again an older member, but he's
Speak of Sean,
yeah, he caps every week. He's a defenseman. Is going to bolster our core right next to Big Irish. He just is the pick that made the most sense to us at that time.
it's like, yeah, we were chatting with him yesterday. He was telling us a bunch of stories about his experiences with real hockey, TBIs, and of course, like the Halifax team that we were just talking about.
Yeah,
And he's back there as the AGM now, I believe.
Yeah, he is.
he's trying to get back into having a more positive impact on the community after his downfall with Davos.
Mhm.
Oh,
I think
for
he's doing
sure.
a pretty good job of it.
Oh, he is. Because I mean,
Oh, yeah.
it used to be whenever I talked to him, it just immediately got into, well, it got ugly.
Yeah,
But I felt like yesterday we were having a talk and it was going really well. So I've got real good feelings that he's turning it around. Again, he's also little older, a little wiser, a little more mature. It'll go a long way.
oh yeah.
He was a pleasure to have in Minnesota for the short time we had him.
Definitely was. Yeah, for the what was it, like 2 weeks that we had him for?
Yeah, couple weeks, and I think it was 6 playoff games we lost in.
Oof.
Yeah, we don't talk
Cosmo Kramerev. I
another
really
guy.
hope he sticks around, because like he was posting like media spots and stuff that were like, it was littered with Seinfeld references, and being a huge Seinfeld fan, I mean, I loved it. I was rolling reading these articles. I just really hope that we have like a career's worth of them coming.
Oh yeah,
I'll bump one of those in chat.
he switched to graphics towards the last 2 weeks, so we'll see if he comes back with more. But another guy I didn't expect to go this early, and I was really hoping would fall to 28. So the more this draft goes on, the more I already hate expansion. or just Ricer. I'm not sure which I should hate. You guys tell me here.
So I can't wait to see what he does running the
Yes.
show now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I mean, if we're going off of his old GM, not well. I mean, what? Who said that? Philly's pick is
Oh, right.
in.
It's a pick that's very familiar to DA and I.
Yep.
Oh, he's old core.
Well, more along the lines that he was taken by Prague yesterday or Saturday.
Yeah.
Oh,
Getting
yeah.
my-
Traded into the
Oh, no.
draft. I only started with a fourth, but Vanna was trading his picks, and I'm like, you know what? Give you 74 third if you want to give me your third now, and
Yeah.
specifically with the intention of taking him because he was falling like mad.
Yeah.
Yeah, we needed to get picks out of Seattle, as well as we needed to lose somebody because if we took a prospect above 250, we were automatically going to go over the cap. Which I don't know if people really noticed in the majors there. Another Houston alumni that went to Philly.
That seems to be a recurring theme.
I guess it makes sense since Houston can't have their own alumni, may as well have them all go to one other team. Also, screw you, Ricer. I'm taking your AGM.
Got tired of it.
It's a
Just
bold
got tired
move.
of him getting swiped.
Yep.
Just reach back and do it yourself.
And I mean, he'll be good. He's already seemed to be like pretty good setup for sticking around.
He's super active.
Yeah.
But he's now being held hostage in Minnesota.
Tell us your lines or else.
It's fine. Because he's an AGM, he'll be locked out of the line area.
Yeah.
I had to
He
do that
doesn't
on
have
Sonnet.
rights to begin with.
AGM rights don't exist.
I would know I am one.
I mean, so would Hatter, I guess.
Yeah. Am I a real AGM?
I don't
The
know.
answer's yes,
I don't know
but
what to call you.
I'm like a spiritual guru.
Yeah, that's a good explanation. I don't know. I've told you I want you to do some stuff this season, so you're getting on this.
Oh,
No, it's never going to be as good as this season in which we were absolutely tanking.
Oh God.
I got to do all the lines that season. It didn't matter.
Yeah.
But I got to do all of them.
There was no fixing it, but you did find some chemistry.
It's all
Another.
random, but sometimes you swear you find something that works.
Exactly.
Here's an interesting situation. We have a Wolf Stanson Jr. with the Prague Phantoms, but now his father has just been drafted to the VHLM.
Yep. Again, I am not a fan of Ricer because this was a guy for my next pick who should
I'm starting to not
have
be a
been.
fan of
Well,
Ricer.
he
I want
clearly
to too.
did learn his. After your guys, you took his AGM and he just goes right back to it with his next pick. He ain't scared.
Yeah, I like again. He's gonna do very well. I don't know if he'll be down a second season, which makes it a semi-risky choice to me, because he is likely gonna come close to capping each week. I think I've seen 1 week where he hasn't like truly capped, but
At 78, though, there's a pretty good chance that he'll be back for a second season. But if he
It's
does
tight.
make it back, he'll pretty much be capped right off of the bat
Yeah.
if that happens.
It'll be close.
Like if he doesn't make the VHL next season, he'll be crushing it.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be tight, especially with late joiner TP. It makes a lot of these picks more
I forgot about that.
useful.
It's only 12, but still.
12 means you're not at 30, so even that, just bumping from. It'll also make waivers a very interesting situation from now on because people hated signing a 30 TP. Like I basically refused to touch waivers if I had enough rostered.
Yeah, 'cause, I mean, especially like a 30 TP guy that's done nothing. I mean, you don't know if you're using a roster spot on essentially a bot.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and it sucks because you want to get them on a team, you want to get them doing something, but you don't want to be the one to take that risk.
Yeah.
For sure.
Well, and
And
also
it's like the more important thing is to get them on a team and get them playing. But ultimately, I get it from the perspective of the
Yeah.
GMs too.
well,
Yeah.
and if all you can offer them is a fourth line roster spot too,
Yeah.
you know,
Well, that's the
Yeah,
other
it's like
thing.
if you have anything even as good as a third, you should be offering.
Mhm.
But a lot of people aren't going to want to sit on a fourth line.
No.
Yeah.
Like
I don't blame them.
Like I remember
mean,
when
like-
I paid attention to fourth line minutes, they would average at most 8 minutes per game on a fourth line.
Because when I recreated back at the trade deadline of season 69, I got offered by Saskatoon, who was in the middle, like historic season, and they only really had room for me on the fourth line. They're like, you might play 5 minutes, you might play 10 minutes, you might play 0 minutes. And I was like, nah. Like I wanted to play.
Yeah.
Top TP players are now 3 goalies in a row.
It's insane. It's like never happens.
Oh, missed 2 picks here. Rick Osmond goes to Halifax. Dylan JJ37, guy I know very well from being in Minnesota for, I think he was there for 2 full seasons.
One of the deal.
Yep.
One of the many deals.
Yeah, and I like
It's
what
like a
he's
cult.
doing with his player names too. 'Cause his first one was Alex Armstrong, and he's named the 2 hosts of a game show called Pointless that I watch. His first one was the main host, the one that like stands and asks the questions, and his current one is the guy that sits in front of the computer verifying all the facts and stuff.
Oh, that's funny.
And then after
Turner?
that, you have Turner McHugh. It's like, because when he
Another
joined, like,
another
I could
Houston.
have sworn, like, when I first saw him come over, I'm like, wait a second, like, is this the guy from EFL?
Yep.
But I think it's a different.
It's not. Turner would have full 12, and this is very much not him. But another
Not to
Houston
mention,
alumni.
he also hasn't said a single word about the Green Bay Packers, so it can't be him.
And EFL Turner is over here as Jonesy, I think.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
what I
yeah.
think. That's the one
Yeah.
that he originally used, because he was a part of the MSFL. That's the name he used.
Actual Baraka in chat, isn't it like 3 in the morning?
I think he said it was like 10 in the
Yeah,
morning.
I think he said it's about 10 and it's his first cup of coffee.
Oh, okay.
No,
Time zones. How do they?
they
How
don't.
do they work? 11:15? Okay.
I swear, like I cannot hear the word time zone without thinking about that fight between Trifecta and Jardy.
Oh, God. That's an old fight.
I was actually around for that, which just proves how old I am.
Cultured you are, not old, cultured.
That's a nice way to look at it.
Chance Rust defense goes to Mexico. Welfare guy, so he'll be
Chance
around.
Rust. That was a guy we had in Halifax. We ended up trading him around the deadline to Ottawa.
Yeah.
To pick up more pieces for this season, hoping to grab him back, but obviously that did not.
He
But
was
at the very least, I mean, we were able to send him off and get a cup.
Yeah, I don't think anyone could be complaining once they've been sent off for a cup.
It's like, yeah, it worked out very well for him. He was really understanding about it all. And I mean, it worked out. He got a cup. Yep. Like he was a pretty good guy in the locker room too. Like very consistent earner, solid player. It's a really nice pickup in the 3rd round for Mexico City.
Yeah. So not a huge reach here, but reaching a little bit farther down the board. Took Han Jae-kook, I'm assuming. I do not speak the language whatsoever, but another guy who does welfare as well as seems to do affiliate welfare in SBA, I think. Yeah, SBA. Makes it nice and easy for him to come over and get his 6 and get his other stuff. But
Liked his responses too.
yeah, his responses were what sold me.
It's a pretty solid pickup for this round. More than likely, you're going to have him for 2 seasons as well.
Oh yeah.
It's a goal. Constant
And then we
competition.
get one of the goalies.
Oh,
Finally.
finally.
Who do they end up going with?
DA Tate
Paremba or Fredrickson?
Paremba, who is
Okay.
Serlene DeJohn.
Solid name.
I have a feeling he typoed and that was supposed to be an E rather than an R.
Probably.
I really hope it's not.
Possibly, who knows? But he welfare plus guy probably will get his 8 per week and potentially could help him out for another season. Also, another Houston alumni. So Philadelphia
apparently the
is just Houston.
Philadelphia Bulls.
Dill's on the clock. I'm sure we'll see him take a 40 TP guy now.
At the rate he's been falling, it wouldn't surprise me. Of
Or he'll trade it for a 7th round pick.
course.
Or he'll go completely out of the sport and draft a basketball player.
Huh, funny how that works.
There we go.
Jeremy Lin.
Solid welfare earner so far.
He was one of the guys we were looking at for like the 4th round. Surprised he went this early.
Blame Racer.
It's
bumped-
always
It,
Rice.
it
He
makes
bumped.
sense for a team that's going to be much. I don't know what Halifax is playing as if they're going to be, because like the last 2 seasons they've been like flirting with that last playoff spot. Last year they grabbed it. Going to be interesting to see what they do this year. If they're
See-
not like full on competing this season, he's the guy that's going to make them a contender next season.
See,
sure.
here's my thought. I don't think Dill has a plan. I don't think I've ever seen a plan from him in anything, really.
Well,
I'm
the
excited.
closest thing I saw to a plan was him wanting to move up to 2nd overall to get Twist, and then he proceeds to get into a fight with him, and that whole plan just fell.
Yeah.
So you can't break your plans if you don't have any plans to begin with.
That's true.
I think that's what he's rolling with.
My favorite thing about being West Coast time is waking up in the morning to like people have already been up for 3 hours and having all this drama in the chat and getting to learn and just dissect what happened. I am really excited actually though for Halifax to see how Valentine does, their
sure.
goalie, because he was consistently one of the people in my coverage who was like performing kind of above his TP and above his expectations. I honestly would have liked to have seen him get a shot at the goalie of the year. He had a horrible goals against average, but like considering the team he was on, the save percentage he was holding was pretty damn close.
Yeah.
Hex has a history with his goalies too. He created one in I think season 64. So this
Oh,
is his
really?
second one. Yeah.
He had it. I don't know. He's been doing pretty well. I have said a lot of nice things about him so far in under 250. So hope he can kind of continue that.
And we pick up Cole Newhook here. Center.
Mhm.
Knew we needed another center here. I don't even know if we technically have a first liner. But guy's almost broken his 100.
New Hook's a solid C.
Solid name.
Yep.
Good old Moscow boy.
Consistent on welfare. Being on Moscow helps for sure. And
I'll
we
yell
picked
at
him
him
up.
in 2 different chats.
Oh god. Hey, and we picked him up a pick later than he was drafted in the VHL, so can't be that bad.
I mean, it could be worse. I mean, you had Jax Hextall, who was a 1st round pick in the VHL. And then I think a day or 2 later is the
36th
VHLM draft, and then he
overall,
falls
or-
until the end of the 3rd round.
He was 32nd overall.
32nd overall.
As a 191 TP goalie.
Yeah. Speaking of
And
goalies dropping,
When I got when I got drafted by IR, I was basically there being like, draft this guy, you need to get him, and it didn't happen. But I'm like, you threw away a cup, man.
Gave us a cup more like.
Yeah. I mean, like I was saying it all year. Like you gave Minnesota a cup by letting them take him there
Which is even better because I was not taking a goalie that draft at all.
because you had just traded for the inactive goalie that Halifax had at 150.
Yep.
Yeah, but it was really good having Jackson in the locker room. He's been consistently one of the kind of top interacting members that
Oh,
I've at least.
he's
For
a
sure.
fantastic guy. Like when
Yeah.
I came back at the trade deadline, I had signed there, and then I think he had just signed there a week or two before. Like he was like the first I really started like talking to once I came back. So we've been in touch throughout our careers.
Yeah.
It's like, and Peace brought me into the Toronto locker room because he thought that I was the DC AGM for some reason, and then he left me there as a testament to his error. So pretty much every day I go in there and I just say Jax Hextall is a stud.
He is. I like that story. That's good.
Miami Marauders select Bobby Chichu, the user of Sharky. Brand new
Wish
guy.
we got Chichu. I always
God,
like taking.
How many
Shark
Sharkies do we have?
I do not know.
Not
Well, I mean,
enough.
well, it makes sense for Sharky to go to Miami. I mean, that is a shark's natural habitat.
Yeah,
This is true.
that explains it.
That's just like next level drafting there by Ricer.
Goddamn
Dermeister,
Ricer.
if you do happen to be watching the stream, I apologize that no other GMs reached out to you, but we're glad to have you. He sent me a DM on the forum.
Mr. Keefe, I think we might have reached out to him. What Wolfie and I did was it's like he basically came up with a list of people. Like I messaged all the forwards, he messaged all the defensemen, and we included each other in the messages. And we heard back from some, and I mean, like I mentioned earlier, I mean, we were really impressed with everything that Dan Bailey Jr. had to say, so we
Yeah.
made it a point to get him. Because like, especially like some of the first gen players were like thrilled that we were contacting them.
Picking up a defenseman here as we try to fill out roster spots. Michael Keefe is our star. I've seen around the forums quite a bit. Ex-SAS guy.
Somebody give me a press conference question.
Press conference question: what's your pregame ritual?
No. Who is the best GM and why is it Razor?
I have like 15 pages of pressers in my Google Doc.
Oh
for
God.
Minnesota.
Jesus.
Yeah.
I usually just come up with them on the spot.
The only press conference question I've ever had that has mentioned you by name, Razor, is who would you pick to be a backup in a duel to your death? Who would you pick to be your backup in a duel to the death, challenged by yours truly and Razor? So in which we are dueling them
God.
to the death.
That is amazing.
I don't know if anybody respond. This might have been in the bad season where nobody was answering press conferences.
Well,
Oh,
it
So,
didn't help
I-
that no one was there.
I'm gonna go into this and see what people were saying. Get some hatter detective work for you guys.
So Bacon goes to Ricer on the compensation pick.
That's good. He's gonna go over there with Andre. He'll have familiar faces there.
Oh yeah, Mississauga alumni.
Sir.
Wilfer plus guy, pretty good.
Yeah.
Big
Solid
L asks, "What's the strangest trade you've seen?" It depends on if you mean strangest or most lopsided. Because the easiest one is to say that Dill's recent trade up for a first round pick is one of the most lopsided we've seen in some time.
That was
I have a more
basically what I was
lopsided
going to
one.
bring up.
DA, did you see it more lopsided?
Yes.
Oh.
I think it was before most of you were here and before Doomsday came back. There was a trade season 62 between me and Jacoba, the guy that's now Squirrely Dan.
Yeah.
he was at the time Vegas GM. It was the day after the draft. I had just drafted this one guy, James Lombardi, in the 9th round. He traded me a 2nd and 3rd for him.
What?
I mean, was the guy
Wow.
worth it?
What?
Was the guy good? Like, was he worth it?
He was okay. He ended up actually going inactive like half a season later,
Oh,
and he just about broke 100 TP.
I mean,
That sounds-
even if he does turn out to be a guy that maxes out, I mean, it's a 9th round pick, and you got a 2nd and a 3rd out of it. I mean, you're not going to beat that kind of.
Yeah, he could have
least in your
taken him how many times before you let him go to the 9th to me?
Exactly.
so Arthur Dane goes to Mexico. Users Inferno.
Frustratingly.
That's a really solid pick for the fourth
Yeah,
to start the 4th round.
Frustratingly had
Yeah.
as he was again next on my list for the pick that is directly after.
When we were looking at New Hook, that was kind of between New Hook and Dane.
Yeah, I don't think Dane should have fallen all the way to.
No,
Yeah,
It was
I was-
close.
but
Like he just posted a graphic the other day. Like he's been doing really well.
Yeah, because we actually
Yeah.
had him his first time around. I was his GM both in the minors and in the bigs.
He is in chat, by the way, so
Yep.
hey, Inferno.
Yeah,
I think part of it is, for me, part of the reason I didn't take him earlier was the consistent 6 is nice, but I would almost rather take a risk on a guy who's getting 6 and then plus, because he's only grabbing welfare practice facility.
Exactly.
So
that means you'll probably get him another year.
yep,
Which at
But-
this point is like almost what you're going for.
Yeah.
yeah,
Also, I've found the answer to the question about who answered in the duel to the death. Only Proto and Jackie responded, but Proto said Gus, because if he's gonna die anyway, I'll make damn sure he dies with me.
Sounds
And
about right.
Yep.
Speaking
And then
of
Jackie said
Proto,
me, so I don't think he understood exactly what the question was asking.
speaking of Proto, he's texting me, asking me telling me to acknowledge him on stream. So yes, Proto, I will be on Xbox later. I'll be there, baby.
Oh my god.
Oh, small piece of trivia regarding the last pick. Actually, Infernal's first player, Don Draper,
Yeah.
first free agent to Prague.
Ooh,
Oh,
look at
shit.
that.
Ooh.
Well,
That's another, yeah, like you said, that's another trivia one. Hopefully Victor has this on the DVR.
Easy pick for us. 41st overall, we take Michael Hall. Users Hops. Was drafted to Davos, which means it'll be fine because Gustav will annoy the crap out of him, which
Yep.
makes it
He'll
easier for
be
me.
he'll be a ping boy.
Oh, for sure. Makes it easier on me. Guys already got a good build. Put up 68 points in 61 games in Houston. Well, we won't talk about the fact that it's negative 55 because it was Houston. Good job, Sonnet.
I was gonna say it's good to see Sonnet back with the Bulls, because like a lot of
Yeah.
that happened before I came back, but it sounds like it was something that he was really passionate and thrilled about, and you can see that he's already bringing that atmosphere and that energy back to Houston.
For sure.
I mean, not that it wasn't happening before, but he's bringing his own hype back into it.
So Yukon has their first pick of the draft, and they pick Jean-Pierre Camus, user Solas.
Ooh,
Take-
Solus.
Taking a goalie.
He's a Solas. He's really big in other leagues. I know he's a really
Yeah.
good graphics guy too.
He
To be
has
getting
been
a-
around longer than I have.
I mean,
Ah.
to be getting him in the 4th round is a steal.
Welcome to
As a high TP goalie,
As
or
I say.
relatively high TP goalie.
welcome to what happens when there's actually goalies in the M for once. I hate it.
The only thing I know about him is he plays a mean town of Salem.
Yeah, I feel that one.
And to all those Town of Salem players out there, please stop killing me before the 4th night. I'd like to be able to see the end of a game.
Honestly.
Thanks, Baraka.
Doom's just gonna get targeted now.
Of course, it's
Wait,
Barack.
are you dead right now, or are you still alive?
He just got
in the VHL one, I just got killed by Baraka the Pirate. In
Ooh,
the EFL one, I'm actually still alive for now.
so this is one
I-
that I don't know. Pietro Angeli goes to Mississauga.
Hounds.
Cole.
So Cole, what's
So at this point, I expected a lot more players on the board to fall to us that definitely did not.
Join the
So I looked
club.
through who was left, and Angeli is a solid earner. He's welfare and practice facility every week. Well, recently it's every week. He just looks like he just learned about welfare. So he's a good second line center to have between, I think it's Gaynor and Brewitt. So we needed a guy there. He's the guy that can fill that gap. I think it'll be a solid pick for us.
Especially since center was a very thin position in the draft this year. To be getting a pretty solid guy like that in the fourth is really good value.
Oh, for sure.
Let me see.
Saskatoon on the clock again.
Another goalie, and
exactly what I
it's
was.
still not Fredrickson.
That's shocking to me.
Well, and considering that Halifax already has Valentine, it looks like he might drop to LA. Las Vegas, not LA.
Shame on you.
Our thought process
See-
there grabbing
back.
Conway is, again, he's a big EFL guy. Both McWolf and I have connections over there.
Yeah.
And in the mention, with all the goalies, it makes sense to grab a guy for next season too. Because I mean, with Shark Auto 12ing, I mean, we're probably going to have him this year and that's it.
So you
But
know,
then, like we reached out to him and talked to him, and he was more than fine with splitting starts because he wasn't planning on making the VHL after this season anyway, which means that he'll be splitting starts this year on a pretty strong squad, and then next year he gets to be the star in the crease.
so picked pointed out the strangest trade between Halifax and Yukon. 13 and 45 overall for 23 and 47. Both picks being a downgrade with nothing else behind the scenes other
Yeah,
than
I
a
remember
promise
that.
to not pick players with the 2 picks.
And then one of the players that he wanted UConn not to take, somebody else took.
Yep.
So he didn't even get the guy that he wanted.
Traded down 10 picks on the 1 pick and 2 on the other.
I wasn't there for that. I'm assuming at that point they knew what the seeds were for those picks.
Yep.
Yeah, this was like 2-3 days before the
yikes.
draft.
This
Why?
was the inaugural season for Halifax, and it was Sean
So-
trading to protect the rights from UConn for me and one other player, and I don't remember who the other player
Yeah.
was, but he ended up taking me.
And so here's the time where we throw Sean under the bus.
Why?
It's like we've been talking about him
Because
doing
it's
so well,
Sean.
and now we're just in here tearing him apart.
He
We're undoing all the good.
to be fair, he came into chat and says he doesn't even remember why he did that.
Yeah, he has not been able to defend
I
that.
actually have an even better one. Just one single trade that basically single-handedly won me a cup.
God.
Season 23, I believe it was. I drafted Dan Jones in the 5th. Then Meg traded me a first for him,
Oh
and
wow!
then she wanted her own first back. So she traded me Keon Henderson, who was basically capped and ended up leading the league in assists.
Oh
Holy
damn.
Yikes!
Wow.
Ooh.
Ruthless.
No, it was 21 because it was Henderson and whoever Nick Bar's player was, Fyodorov, were basically my only 2 guys. But the thing is, I had an 86 TP inactive goalie. Everyone else had like a 50 TP inactive goalie. So 2 guys were still enough to win the cup.
Oh man.
For those paying attention at home, those are the kind of trades you need to make if you want to be a commissioner in this league.
Oh man, I'm right on my way then, aren't I?
I don't know. I
Modest
mean,
as
Wolf
always.
is off to a great start with this offseason.
I gotta be
Speaking
modest.
of that, I think Wolf was dropping his the brand for his expansion team in the EFL tonight, probably around the same time we're doing this.
Probably.
You mentioned that, yeah.
Does so much.
Guy's a madman. He's drafting for the Wild. He's unveiling his new team. Where does he get the time to do all this?
And still helping out with the VSN articles on the off season.
Yeah.
True MVP. And I'm not
All
just
right.
saying that because I don't get paid to be his AGM.
Everyone in chat, answer these press
It's fine.
conference questions.
You can't
now.
get paid anyways. Yeah, everyone go answer those. Anyone who wants to, go for it.
They're completely
a
Minnesota
player.
specific, but well, not completely.
Jamming Joe asks, "What's the most surprising pick so far?" Anything Ricer picked because he reached by a full round and a half on most of them. Which
I would say probably
Yeah. We
the
just
most
had another.
surprising thing to me was that the top goalie went all the way to the middle of the second round, especially when you consider like he's a good 40 TPE ahead of the other goalies. It's like he's like a pretty solid margin, the top goalie.
Yeah.
And to think that he went that far, like when I thought for sure he was going to be like the top pick or at least the top 3, to see him drop that far was pretty shocking.
Yeah.
Definitely not expected.
I mean, I'm
Halifax.
also kind of surprised that Twist dropped to 4th, but at the same time, when you know the circumstances, like it makes more sense.
I almost kind of expected him to keep going. Because
I mean,
we were like we were all in the channel, so that's what makes me kind of surprised it doesn't just keep going. Like all the GMs and all the AGMs saw all of it out in the open. But
I mean,
James Boxman at 45.
I've never had a problem with the guy. And I mean, I've been in other locker rooms with him. He's a good, fun, like passionate person. I mean, we weren't gonna pass up that opportunity to take him,
for sure.
especially considering that Dill took our boy Timothy Brown. Like at that point, we just had to rewrite the board because we were never expecting him to be available.
Yeah. So as DA said, James Boxman goes to Halifax. That's Sidis or Sidhus. He's an EFL guy. He'll be fairly
His last
consistent.
player. Because I recognize that name.
Yep. You recognize it because he was on our team for 2 or 3 seasons.
There we go.
Yeah, he was Teddy Smith.
Yep.
the
That's
first
Okay.
round.
Man.
Yep.
The fact
Mhm.
that DA
With
knows
Bo-
that, yet he was on my
Boxman was
team.
actually a member of Saskatoon last season. He was another one of our waiver pickups.
Yeah.
I was gonna say
And-
Wolf killed it with those last year.
Yeah. Niels Frederickson.
Saskatoon had a good run there.
Yeah.
These are the things you have to know as a commissioner.
Behind the scenes DA.
Niels Frederickson goes back to Las Vegas for his second season at the helm. Played all 17
There it
games
goes.
last season.
Finally got taken.
I don't think he'll complain that because he played every single Las Vegas game last season. Now he gets to go back and do it all again. Maybe he can.
What blows my mind is I was looking at him in the second round, and he's all the way down to the 4th now.
Jamming just says, if you're drafted this season and don't reach the cutoff, do you stay with the team that drafted, or you put into next year's draft? You'll stay with the team you're drafted, though whoever drafts you in the VHL could pull you up if they wanted to.
It's very, very rare that you would get pulled up.
Cough, cough.
like,
Gutsweiler
unless-
twins. Cough, cough.
Like unless
Jesus.
it's a team where like they don't have a lot of actives and they absolutely desperately need the bodies. Generally, you're going to be left alone until you get to the point where you have to be called up.
Unless you get pulled up because the VHL GM's trying to screw over the VHL GM.
And
That would never happen.
And
though.
then proceeds to trade both players off to another team who doesn't need them in Toronto.
Not who I was referring to.
No, I know.
Not who I was. I don't think SO had any ill
No,
will
I don't.
toward
No. I
specifically,
like to make
but
fun.
I definitely think it was a bit of shadiness with Shido pulling Glowy up to spite Sonnet.
Oh, for sure. And then Glowy also has now decided he's in the minors forever because of it. So
Yeah.
Good job on Bush for that.
Imagine there being drama in
Just
the
Calgary things.
Just
It
Calgary
doesn't
things.
make any sense.
Calgary's number 1 rule is hate Seattle. Number 2 rule is fuck everyone else.
I thought Calgary's MO was just to hate everybody.
I feel like I get a little bit of extra hate, but
Oh, there's definitely more hate with Seattle.
yeah, they definitely hate everyone though.
Seattle's just on an elevated pedestal.
For sure. PK Soup Can. or PK Subban. Pat Poe 22 goes to
Damn.
Philly.
The soup can.
And then
Good old ex-Moscow guy with his old player vision alt.
Yeah.
Solid welfare earner.
Underclass hero.
Yeah,
New guy?
I don't get this pick by Basket 48.
Explain yourself. He played 72 games, and he hasn't updated in April. Doom.
Yeah.
Doom. What you doing?
What am I doing?
Yeah, this is your team and your AGM. Or you're the AGM. You should
I mean that one, like I don't get it. There's a guy still ahead of him with more TP that has drafted or has updated today. But-
Yep.
I don't get that one. But I mean, at this point, not getting it isn't really going to be that big a difference.
No.
One thing that I think is helpful on our factor is that being drafted by Davos, if Gustav cannot get that guy active,
Nobody can.
exactly.
That's a good point.
What we're talking about, Davos. What do you
But I
think
think
about
at
what he's
this
doing?
point, if he's been gone for a month,
Yeah.
nobody can is more likely the result.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I got a Battle Popcorn back to the site after about a month of him being gone, but he hasn't done a whole lot. He does practice facility every week.
So that's actually an interesting one to talk about. Davos has a fairly. I mean, they got old this season out of nowhere, but their locker
Yeah.
room was very minors oriented, partially because that is just who Gustav is, at least in my opinion. But what is everyone's thoughts about what he's just kind of flipped the switch and
Started
like
trying to compete.
kind of competing, but he looks like he
I mean,
maybe
realistically speaking, I mean, look at the shape of the European Conference right now.
It's weak.
It is
Oh,
weak.
very.
And then you think like he had with Rock Davis beasting it, and then he has all these other guys coming in, 3 first-round picks.
Well,
It's
I'm
like
sure
he had absolutely, although he did wisely, I think, didn't he trade one of them for a first next season? Wisely gonna spread out some of those cap hits.
He
Did he
traded
really?
one of them for traded 4th down to 9th. And I think he picked up like a 2nd or something next season.
That one
It's-
was a tough one for me.
Close.
It's definitely helpful, but that top 5 was too good to trade out of for that little, in my opinion.
I mean, it made sense because Vancouver was desperate to pick up forwards,
Yep.
and then once you know it, a couple days later, he picks up a suspension.
And a 2-week
Hmm.
TP ban on top of it, meaning he'll lose training
Yikes.
camp, which is 10 on its own, plus 12,
big.
plus another 12, or I guess 13.
That's brutal.
He loses 26 for sure, plus training camp, so he loses 36 before any other off-season stuff happens. And yeah, so that's a tough one. But also, I get to laugh because they're in my conference, so ha ha ha.
Vancouver did desperately need the help at forward.
For sure.
Because they've been they've been pretty reliant on Triple H and Freeman, and they're not getting any younger.
No.
It's like, but as far as Davos goes, I'm pretty positive they're going to make a leap into the playoffs. That team is pretty. They should be able to compete.
I think also
Like-
part of it probably was just Gus wanting to get Jerry like an actual go at it, especially considering Malmo was kind of no longer going to be competing.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, you have Malmo that's realistically out. Like Prague, as much as I hate to say it, Brick Wall, Rick really, really carried that team last year.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of players on that team getting hit hard with regression. There hasn't really been a whole lot of youth come in to back it up. So they'll probably take a step back. And then you've got Helsinki, who's still improving too. So hey, why not? Like you've got the pieces. You've got a roster that was really shaping up nicely. You got guys that were looking to be moved, veteran pieces, pick them up, throw them into the mix. All of a sudden, you've got a pretty competitive team.
My only question is how long is his window now? Because the way his team was shaping up, he could have had a 3-4 season window if his drafts go well, the same way kind of Seattle has just done. Now, I'm not sure he even has a second season per se.
It's like, because my big thing though is like he's definitely gonna have to replace a line probably by at least next season. But the thing is, he's got a line that's starting to really shape up with really quality prospects. Like
Yeah.
there's more guys in the M that'll be coming up next year. Like Davos still has a pretty deep prospect pool despite getting old. Like there's still like, I mean, the pieces were available for them to pick up to make a run this season. And if they don't make it, I mean, they're still in shape to retool and go again next season.
Yeah. So a couple picks here. Miami takes Dakota Lamb. 52 TP was hyped in the chat. And Scoot Burbs, whose user is rad like my dad, but is also inactive.
Yeah, I don't understand verbs at all here. Now, Paloon, the other Yukon
Oh.
pick right after it, fair enough. The guy's still around, still
Yep.
updating. Verbs, not so much.
I
Fat
mean,
balloon.
do we need to say anything more than it's Mex?
Okay.
Then you've got Lamb being taken by Miami at 49. He's out there watching the stream right now. Congratulations, you're on Miami's inaugural roster.
Yeah.
You'll probably be a part of at least two seasons there.
Speaking of people who are in the chat at the moment.
Yes, let's not encourage further shenanigans, Eno.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah.
No, that's not what I'm referring to. 50-second pick occurred, and it's somebody that's in the chat.
Oh, okay.
Hey.
It hasn't updated on my screen yet. Oh.
Yeah, I'm still looking.
Yeah, there it is.
Still hasn't. Oh, there it is.
Osens.
So should we talk about the fact that they were just chirping each other? My
Yeah.
hiatus is not technically over. I go right back to it after this, so
Bad.
Yeah, right after the two of them were like,
yeah, just bickering back and forth, and then immediately, oh well, they are on
they're
the
on the
same
team with
team.
each other.
Good luck, boys.
Here it goes. Chat's hitting DGen hours.
Oh boy.
Oh no. So where's that guy who screenshotted my comment to watch over all this? Where's the Calgary players?
Blues in here.
I'm sure if I just ping Big Mac, he'll come back and do it again.
I was gonna say, I thought that was just Crime Stoppers that caught that.
No, I have no clue who did it. I just blame Calgary because I feel like who else would target that? But I don't know. I'm gonna not talk about it any further now. I still have my 26 hours after this, I think, but
Could just blame the SBA.
I mean that would technically be true, because without the SBA here, this all doesn't happen. So, oh well, it is what it is. Made my mistakes, but could have been a lot worse.
Maybe hubby.
But how could this happen to you? You've made your mistakes.
Yep. Knew where that one was going.
I'm not Hogan. I don't sing on stream.
I did. Mexico grabs Alex Andrusnovic, the user Puck Pushers. Is that supposed to be pill poppers? Is a permanent practice facility guy. We'll see if he can change that.
I just want to know where you got that pronunciation from, because the name clearly ends.
I was
Yeah, I was gonna
incredibly
say Andrew
impressed with
Shenikov.
that. Like you're clearly thinking it out, and all of a sudden, boom! You just rattled off like you knew it the whole time.
I don't know where you're getting the end of Novik from that. It looks like Andrew Shenikov.
Yeah.
If you say anything with enough confidence, people will believe you.
Exactly. That's pretty much what I went with. I'm like, my brain's just not computing. I'm gonna go with Russian, and kind of got the first half, and then went, whatever, close
Yep.
enough, close counts.
Yep.
It's close enough for government work.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't get paid enough for this shit.
Wait, you're not getting paid?
I mean, I will get paid because I'm gonna claim this is a podcast for 4 weeks, so I will get paid. Remember, I'm not part of VSN. Oh,
Fair.
shots fired.
That's
Better
okay. We're working on that.
I know.
Happen.
I know.
I feel like we got good discussion going with that. I feel like I don't
Yeah.
know what's going on behind closed doors, but we went and we talked to who needed to be
Frosty.
talked to.
Yeah.
So I feel like things will be changing. I mean, at the same time, we're still working on our content. Top 25 rankings are in progress. I think within the next day or two, we're gonna start doing the write-ups.
Yeah. To
One
those
thing I
you-
will say is like some of the rankings from some people are very, very surprising. Because you've got, for example, there's one player that I won't name. At least 2 people have him ranked as the top player, and then another person has that player ranked 10th.
That sounds like funk.
There's gonna be some really like bizarre stuff going on with this rankings. I think it's gonna make for a very interesting list.
If I dropped, I may just quit. Or just
You know,
fight
it's all
whoever's in
about
VSN
regular
again.
season performances.
I'm not
and
gonna
I'm
lie,
just
Rays. I mean, with
sugarcoating it.
3 Cubs, 3 Canoes, like
Yeah.
I have you ranked top 3.
It's a
Like
tough
there's
one.
no. I mean, despite like the regular seasons not always being statistically
Woohoo.
dominant, I mean, like you're still looking at a future Hall of Famer, like a legendary player, and I'm like, how can you not rank a guy like that in the top 3?
Yeah, I get it. I even
What
talked
is
to
this
Vic.
rankings about?
The top 25. The VSN does this every season where they go back and they basically rank the top 25 players in the VHL heading into the
Oh
season.
yeah, I've been ignoring that because I'm never gonna make it.
Yeah, and I checked them every season.
Well,
But-
maybe if you would update Dagmar some more, you'd get on
I
there.
was about to say.
Yeah, for all of the
I do. I just update them like once a season with like 2 months worth of stuff.
well, maybe
Yeah,
if
and then
you
the
at least-
update, and then the updaters just stare at it and just
Yeah, nope, I'm out.
Well,
I
to be
mean,
fair,
God,
it's
like,
me.
who are you,
You
big
know
sheep?
I'm not getting it wrong. You can just click, click,
I-
click, click, click.
I have absolutely thought about that. If I'm an updater, I just go, that's DA or Bana or like Bekatov. It's just like click, click, click.
Like
And
no,
I-
like one of my funniest things with updaters and EFL, like I have 2 different players in the collegiate leagues. One of them is being updated like first thing in the morning. The other one happens later at night. Like I can tell the one doing it in the morning isn't checking it because it all gets approved, and then the other guy will deny it because I screwed something up, like I posted the wrong link or something.
Yeah,
So the one player will be getting approved, but then the other one's getting denied with the exact same updates. So
Yeah.
like one of you is not checking.
That's always good.
yeah.
Anyway,
It's
a couple
fine.
more guys.
I only see Butts so far.
Mills and
There's
Butts.
some,
We left on the Russian guy.
I thought
Yeah.
we were. Oh yeah, no, I went to yell at Cole about his pick.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I went to. I don't think I did.
Yeah, I don't remember that.
That's fine. Cole, why'd you pick him?
So Mills joined yesterday, and he already went to the store to buy his first gen stuff. So I think that I can convince him to update more in his practice facility. He'll be a really good player for us in the long run, and he's a
I mean,
defense.
a first gen surviving the player store with his first experience with it is a pretty good sign.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
that's what we were banking on.
So, Yukon again goes for an inactive, but Toast has been back and forth to the VHL on quite a few occasions I've seen. My only thought though is if he does get him back, he's probably just going to retire and recreate on him.
Mhm.
So it's an interesting
mean,
pick again.
It is the 5th round, so this is where you're going to take some of your gambles like that. I mean, worst case scenario, he doesn't come back. Like it's a bottom line guy that you have to fill space. Like it's better than a bot. And
Yeah,
if he
for
does
sure.
come back, maybe he'll get better. But he's definitely going to be like a project type guy for you if you get him back. If not, he's better than a bot.
See, on the other hand, you could pick a guy who just, again, is on Davos with Gustav and has a weird claiming history. That's interesting. Claims
Like, that
practice
was
facility and trivia answers, but doesn't claim welfare. So he knows
Willis?
he knows how to use the site. Yeah, Jared Willis goes to Sask. So he knows how to use the site and the forum
it's
and
like
claims trivia answers.
like, between Saskatoon and being on Davos, one of us will get it figured out for him.
Yes, someone will figure out how
Willis
to win
was
towards
one of the
welfare.
guys I was looking at, hoping he would fall to 42 or 46 or whatever it was I had, and he didn't.
Yeah.
And instead, I ended up with the guy that went next.
UConn takes Ernie King, who's Greg Ernest. Played on UConn for 41 games last season, so returning guy. Kind of scattered update history. Kind of went inactive for almost a month, it looks like.
In unrelated news, the chat has moved on from DGen and it has moved on to Oilers fan sadness.
Oilers and Sens fans. This is great.
Okay, so I'm just going to go out on a limb, be nice to you guys. I'll throw out an F in the chat for y'all.
While we're at it, we'll mix in some Wings fan sadness.
At least you guys
At,
have.
at least you guys had 25 years.
We had, and now we have bottom of the league.
Whereas I'm kind of in the opposite boat. My hockey team is actually really good. Sorry, Doomsday, but yeah.
It's okay,
And-
ours is good too.
But my baseball team has the shitty owner.
It's just a factory of sadness.
Yeah. Rip Pirates.
I guess I always liked McCutcheon though.
Yeah.
And then
He
my
ended up
wife is
going
a
to you guys after, I think.
well, I'm actually a Braves fan, but my wife is a big Phillies fan. But she was so excited when they got him. Like he got hurt really early in the season, but he was still like hanging out with the team and doing a lot of stuff in the clubhouse. Like a really classy, like really great guy for any organization to have.
Yeah. Yeah, that was one of the things. He was always doing stuff for people out here.
Makes me like, because I think like he tore his ACL or something. It was like May or June. It was early in the season, but like all year, like you could see him like in the dugout, like at team activities. Like sometimes when like guys get hurt, like they just almost like stop being a part of the team. But he was out like he was going to go suit up and play with them every day.
Yeah.
See, we have a Bean Bagel going to the Mexico City Kings.
So he's a fresh create.
There's some food related players this year.
Always get some odd names.
We had Bacon went in the VHL draft. Now we got a Bagel.
Bacon also went in this draft. He was in both drafts.
Did Bacon go in this one?
Yep.
39th.
Well, I mean, you got to consider we have the 15th round coming up next. It's hard to remember all this.
We don't have the 15th round.
I wasn't lying.
Technically.
It's what it says.
Yeah.
The deepest draft of VHLM history.
I was there.
I still say
You got to
67
drop
was-
to be top. Tell that to the Cleveland Browns.
Las Vegas selects Gary Rush.
Rush.
Guy's active. Claimed welfare
Why didn't
this week
UConn
and last
take
week.
him?
Again, the answer can just be it was Max. Like, this is simple.
UConn was the next pick too, so if Proto hadn't taken him, we probably would have.
Yeah, nice going, Proto.
God damn it, Proto.
UConn does make two decent selections, two brand new guys in Michael Bennett and Blake Cornveal.
UConn too good.
I remember that.
Oh, what was the one they said to like subconsciously not have people go to UConn? It's like there's no
rocking
rush.
the old logo.
Nico, go away. You left Mexico. You don't get to cheer for them anymore.
Go Mexico. I don't know. I'm not a fan of avocados.
I remember the whole thing with UConn was like, right when it first started, it was Streetlight's team. Like he created them. He wanted that to exist because it didn't have alliteration, and he hated alliteration for some reason.
But alliteration is my favorite.
Yeah.
Liter-
Yeah, I mean it's Streetlight. What do you expect? And then he created this
aka
team, and then he
Scoop.
went inactive like 3 seasons later.
Oh boy.
3
And then
seasons.
Eagles
I
took
mean,
them.
that's as long as I was a VHLM GM.
True. Yeah, VHL MGMs do have a bit more turnover.
I mean,
We especially
bit.
saw it this past season.
oh god, like this past 2 seasons, I don't even remember who GMs were from then because there's been too many new faces now. Like, I feel old as shit. I think Ira's the oldest, then it's me, and then D-Max, or D-Maximus. And then
And he's
Mott's?
third.
Yeah, like, when D-Max is third, and I think Motza is fourth. Oh,
Everybody has new.
god, maybe I am old.
It's like, oh my god, yeah, there was a ton of turnover the past 2 seasons.
Yeah, it's been a revolving door, and there's a reason I've had my struggles. Yeah.
Vladimir.
Yeah, Vladimir goes to. I'm blank. Wow, Miami Marauders. I couldn't put the name to the logo.
The land
I
pirates.
hear it's the Miami Buccaneers.
Wasn't that one of the names that was suggested?
I think it was.
I think it was. I think when the logo was put
I-
up, Buccaneers was suggested.
I mean, Buccaneers definitely matches the logo.
Yep. But Tampa Bay. Kind of.
Yeah,
Also,
I feel like that's probably what nixed that.
also alliteration is better. Like it.
Oh, totally. I mean, you have land pirates instead with the alliteration, but hey,
Yeah.
alliteration.
Oh, that's a good point, Doc. Why is there no New Links logo?
I was just mentioning that I just realized that their old logo is still there.
Been that way
Josh,
for a
It's still
bit.
the old thumbnail.
where's Josh?
Well, also keep in mind that how many seasons now that Prague and DC have been in the league and they still don't have emotes on general chat. I mean, Prague doesn't even have the emote in their own Discord. You have to go to Davos to find it.
So, I have a
I should fill
question.
it off Davos then.
Who were the idiots who let Hooper Orama drop all the way down past all of these guys, including inactives, when he has claimed 12-12?
Yeah.
I'll be honest,
Bunch of hoopties.
it is partially my fault because I traded. I wanted to trade it and I just couldn't because I saw him, and no one would give it up. But oh well, that could end up
Yeah,
being
he was-
huge, especially as that's Doc's first pick as a GM.
One sec,
Sick.
guys.
He created a goalie, right?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, that's
I was
why.
gonna say because we
That's
were
why.
looking at him, but
That explains
considering we were able to get Conway in the fourth, like
Yep.
I mean we're not going to be crazy and carry 3 goalies. I mean unless we would be allowed to carry him as
I
an
was gonna
e-bug and let him
say,
drive to Zamboni.
if you want to grab 3 goalies, you can enjoy losing your pick. I don't remember what round we had. I think last time we did that, we were offered to either lose a 4th rounder, write a VHLM article about why they're so good.
It's because we're just too benevolent. We want as many people to have opportunities as possible.
Yep.
I don't know. I think part of me also thinks that people want to get into GMing and then they get into the M, but it's completely different than it would be if it was the pros, because I mean, you don't technically have as many long-term like project, like there's a lot of roster turnover. Like it's more about development than it is winning. As cool as
Yep.
it is to win, like your big thing is seeing your guys go up to the pros and knowing that you did your part to keep them active, keep them engaged to the point where they got there.
Yep. It's part of why when it was actually brought up in the bog in the audit a bit about
The
increasing
bog of
GM
eternal
pay.
stench.
Nah, it's everyone gives us a hard time, and yes, I just said us despite being, was it 2 weeks, 3 weeks now I've been in there, I think. Everyone gives the bog a hard time. There is a lot more going on behind the scenes than people expect or think, which I even thought there was a lot, and then I stepped into it and went, oh, we just blew up with 6 threads in a week, and 4 of them were like being hammered back to back to back all in one day. It's like they brought in 4 new guys, 4 threads popped up, and each thread had 50 replies by the end of the day.
It sounds like it's the place where if you go do something and then you come back, you feel like you missed everything.
That has happened, especially with some of the paragraphs that guys write out, where I went, oh, I now have like 10 minutes of reading to cover 6 responses. I was like, oh, this is okay. It's like, where did I went to get a drink, and all of a sudden you're behind.
Go to get a
But
drink and you come back to 6 more pages.
that's pretty much what happened. It was chaotic. There's definitely some downtime during sometimes and whatnot, but it's crazy. There's a lot more going on than people think, and I like to say we do a decent job, as much as everyone wants to hate.
Let's see, Miami. Let's see. Or was that Hooper's player? Got UConn, top of the 6th round.
Oh.
Not bad. It's really nice to see 2 really deep drafts.
For sure. The fact that we still have actives and we're pushing 6 rounds that's been uncommon recently, which kind of makes me sad I don't have my 5ths, because they've been throwaways for the last, I don't know, 3 seasons.
It's like, yeah, how many seasons do you have now where like you passed in like the 4th and you're like, oh, I could have used those?
I don't know if I've ever passed a pick, mainly because I, again, would always prefer to have a full roster of bots and just cut somebody, or not to have a full roster of bots and just cut a 30 TP inactive. But
It's like even like I think what a 30 TP is technically better.
yeah, the
Assuming
30,
that they actually apply the points.
not even a default roster player is 40s across the board, and I believe a default bot is 25s. So even then, you're better off.
Even a 30, even one that didn't apply, like a 0 TP is better.
Yep, you're better off having a guy who has 0 TPA than a bot, because they're almost double in each category. But the other thing with our turnover has made trading a pain in the ass. A huge pain in the ass to try and trade with anybody.
I remember you were whining to me
We're
about
trying
that.
to do that to nerf you specifically.
No, I minged and whined a bit to Cole because we were discussing stuff, but I think you came back and asked if I ripped you off.
I did, yeah.
Well, no, I said I won the trade, but that's about it. I don't
Yeah.
I don't take a loss, which it's to be expected. But I don't try going to rip people off, which is why I was kind of surprised. I think it was one of the ones. It might have been the one where whoever it was became Halifax GM for like 8 days, and then
Baraka.
yeah, I think
Yeah.
Baraka became the
Oh
GM.
yeah,
Uh,
was the Storm trade?
yeah, it was. They sent the 2 inactives over plus the goalie for the second or 2 seconds or whatever. I sent the active goalie to, I believe, Doc, who literally had taken over for the day after contacting DA to ask, like, hey, is he considered the GM right now? He says yes. So I sent him a message, trade the goalie to him, and pick up, I think, a second back or something. And then the goalie retires 2 days later. And the user is now banned out of Discord, but that's a different story.
Yeah.
It was Fizz, but it was quite funny to see happen.
Fizz. One of like the 5 people or so that I will never draft with any pick, even if it's like 10 rounds.
Yeah.
Apparently, somebody sounds like
probably me,
I
because
I don't even know how to pronounce it.
It's probably me because both me
Yeah.
and Eno are from Winnipeg. Like we're both. He's from Rays. It's Rays, Nico. There you go. We're both from Peg, so we'd probably have very similar accents, very similar sounding voices. Is not surprising.
Yes, Nico. That context me is
Yeah. In context, when I said me, it was in fact Rays. I should have just left it at me. I should have just continued to say me over and over until he just gave up.
Like,
It's me,
what
dude.
do you
What are you
mean
talking about?
it's me?
Uh,
Oh, we have 2 picks here, by the way.
McCallie is Nolan McNally, who has done practice facility and done some stuff in the past, so he should
More
be able to.
Hounslow.
Oh, Hounds alumni, yeah.
Yeah.
He should be a good pickup this deep, especially. Then
At that TP level in the 6th round, it's hard to complain.
yeah, and then Las Vegas takes a fresh create. But yeah, like you guys, all you new GMs have just mucked the market and muddled and like created absolute chaos. There's no reasoning for anything. Like Sask and Mexico, when they went at it in '69, caused a bit of a shitstorm because they changed a lot of the values for that season, but it kind of leveled out for about a month, and then it blew up again when the turnover started happening.
And then you also have all of the recreates and creates here because
Yeah.
you've got such a deeper pool of prospects. I mean, especially with goalie, because I think like what we had, like normally there's like what 2-3 goalies, and there's at least 6 here that were worth taking. Even more, I think.
It's weird to not see all the goalies gone by the end of round 2 or even round 3. Houston picks up Thomas Rivera, a older but consistently practice facility guy.
I mean, worst case scenario, better than a bot. And if he's practice facility, at least he's improving, and you've got a shot to reel him in and get him to keep working.
Yeah.
Especially with all the branding that Sonnet does for Houston. Throw that guy a nice sig, maybe he'll come claim welfare or something.
Oh yeah, for sure. At this point, it's all about taking a guy who is either active or potentially active.
I mean, the 6th round now, I mean, I was saying this in the 5th, like this is where you start taking some of those gambles.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, usually you might not even necessarily have these picks in other drafts. Like you're basically playing with house money.
Well, and we also have to think about the fact that this round 6, the end of round 6 here is where the end of the draft had been for the last 5 seasons. So as of right now, we're in round 7 for this entire round, and round 5 was actually round 6. Because each pick, because on top of the picks that Miami got, they also got the compensations. So picks like 77 would have been the end of round 7. So we're starting to look at guys who would
Oh yeah,
be
yes.
7th
All those
rounders.
extra picks, those add up in a hurry.
Yeah, I didn't realize quite how fast it was. Like we have a full extra round plus 3 spares that we wouldn't normally have after the draft. Like we're having actives in the 6th and 7th round. That's huge for the M.
That's fantastic for the league in general to have that much,
sure.
especially when, like, you read about how things were in the 50s. Like usually when teams start contracting, that's usually like a sign that a league's on the way out. But then you see the fact that not only did it bounce back, but it expanded not only back to where it was before, but further.
Well,
Like that's huge. That's a really big turnaround. That I'm glad that it happened because I was able to come back that way.
yeah. Well, honestly, at this rate, like, what are the odds we get expansion? We just put up 1 more in the minors. We could potentially get 2 more if we keep drafts this deep. And in the majors,
I mean,
we could look at more.
if this keeps happening, I mean, it's very possible.
I feel like the odds are the minors like behind, but I feel like
Yeah,
especially with
because I mean,
Beavis.
you don't want to have too many teams in the minors because you want to have filled teams. You want to have more competition. And you want but at the same time, like you need to have enough to where like teams aren't going to be like loaded. Because like especially like last season, you started to see it happen where like so many new wingers would be coming up, and people are like, somebody go get them, and we're all like, we don't have space for more wingers.
It was like
You want those like first gens to get ice time.
Oh yeah. I feel like the M definitely needs to lag behind in the amount of teams because of the fact that a lot of guys are starting to stay second seasons. There's still, say, 50% fall off of guys who just go inactive and are done part way through their careers. And then the fact that the majors are a 7 or 8 season long holdings of careers, that it's not the same turnaround time in the M. The majors need to have more space than the minors do, at least in theory.
Especially now because of it used to be 200 before you would get called up. Now it's 250.
Yeah.
And also, granted, back when it was like when I was first in the league in the 30s, like the cap was only 9, and you could only hit the cap, I believe, if you had a job. Like it,
Yeah.
I think it's because in a lot of leagues you see that where like you can't max out if you don't have a job. Like it's really good to see that like a member that comes in isn't going to be disadvantaged because of being new and not having a job. That they can come in and they can get that 12.
Yeah. That's part of why I don't understand a lot of the hate surrounding guys who have, like, say 2 or 3 jobs. It's like, go somewhere like EFL where your cap is 9 unless you have a job. Like, if you come here, you get your 12. So why are you complaining that whatever, like, I don't know, Bekatov has his sim. I guess he's bad. He actually doesn't have 2 anymore. But like Device used to be a GM and a simmer, so he would have 10 or I guess 9 right off the hop and only have to finish 3. But you can still get to the same thing as him, so why complain? It's like, oh, he's got 2 jobs. It's like, why are we complaining about that when you can still
Yeah,
get the
I
same?
mean, honestly, at this point, it's not a big deal. Well, back in the day when you needed a job to cap, that was a big deal.
Oh yeah.
But the way it is now, it's not.
Yep.
I mean, because I mean, over in the EFL, I mean, I'm getting my 9 a week, but I don't think I want to take on a job there on top of VSN here because I mean, where am I going to find the time? Especially once we start returning to normal with COVID. Because as it is right now, I'm mostly working from home. I have a ton of time that I wouldn't have had before.
Oh, for sure.
I can't. I would hate some kind of not being able to hit cap without a job. Like I feel like that's so unfair as the league structure.
Yeah, I'm not a
Look,
fan of it.
I know it was originally set to entice people to want to do the jobs, but I think after a while you get to the point where it's happening regardless, and I don't think you need to hold people back because of it.
No, there.
Yeah.
You shouldn't
Especially
have to.
considering like with doing VSN, I mean, I get the 2 for doing, and then I get 2 for doing the press conference for Saskatoon every week. Like I don't have to work, and then you get 2 for trivia, which is pretty simple. And then because of the 2 for job pay, I don't have to worry about writing a VHL.com on top.
Yeah.
So like nowadays jobs aren't for the sake of hitting the cap. It's almost kind of like saving you doing something else to hit cap.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is a reward for the time put in, which is why when the job audit came up, I actually did push for both majors and minors to get more pay. I like people say, "Oh, well, you should do it for the love," or especially the majors. I understand the argument in the majors where it's like if you're now trusted enough, uh, and you've earned your spot into the majors, that not necessarily you should do it for free, but getting the 2 is a reward for the time you're gonna have to put in. But the amount of time I've spent doing trade talks, talking to new members, running lines, just trying to get people to
Mhm.
understand all the stuff that
Like
actually comes with being a GM and the time you put in to say, that's 2. It just
yeah, like you mentioned before with the BOG. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that goes on behind the
yeah.
scenes that you're not going to see. Like it's not as simple as just
Yeah.
posting a trade. There's hours of talk that goes into that
Oh
usually.
man, I have had like 2 hour, like when Peace was a GM, I would have a 2 hour talk with the guy, just trying to get a trade out. And 50% of the time, it would just be a fold. Like we would both go, okay, this isn't gonna work. And now I've spent 2 hours trying to work a trade for a team, come out with 0, and I get 2 TPE in the end of the week. Like everyone's like, oh, like there was the argument with AGMs where they wanted to compare a VHL.com to giving an AGM 2 TP a week. I understand the thought, but if you do that, you then proceed to bump every single job up immensely. Like, if you,
It's one of those things where like it's a good idea in theory, but then you have to think about effects that it's going to cause.
yeah, it's a cause and effect of if we do this for an AGMs.
I mean,
First off,
personally, I mean, I don't care that I'm not getting paid for it.
yeah,
I mean, even before that was taken away, like Wolf offered to split it with me, but I'm like, I'm
yeah,
capping without it. I don't need it.
yeah. I was quote unquote scummy and have never offered an AGM pay, I believe. Um, I mean,
I
obviously,
wouldn't even need it. Is the
well,
thing.
and that's the other thing. Like, how useful is 1? Um,
Like, I really didn't want to do that because I'm like, you're gonna have to go through the process of claiming something for less than the full amount. It's a like that's a problem. Like, I might as well just not take it. I don't need it, and then it's gonna cause me less headaches that way.
yep,
Yeah. I mean, I've been on the record as saying that like it would be having like my whole point about having the AGM, like the whole media, not media spot, but the whole article I wrote, like I went on the record saying that the kind of changes I was hoping to have implemented would be negative for me personally. Like I don't really want to have a more defined job. I like kind of the morale boosting role and just being a presence for the new guys to talk to. Like that's fine for me.
And I've really enjoyed being the AGM with Saskatoon. Like Wolf has, like I'm not really required to do anything. Like I help out. Like I help keep people active and happy in the locker room. Like I do the press conference every week. Like I help Wolf out. Like if he needs lines to be submitted because he's not around, because I know he's still working. He's an essential worker, so he's still working. Whereas
yeah,
like I work at a school, so I'm at home. I'm working at home. So if he can't get lines in, I'm there to do it. So like I basically will help him out with pretty much anything, and he'll involve me with a lot of talks with stuff. Like keeps me pretty well informed. So I'm honestly really happy with how it works. Oh, we actually have some picks.
We do.
Saskatoon,
Want to run through them?
Halifax with the 69th pick.
Nice.
Barry Bonds, another two-sport player. He actually was our
Actually, it's
goalie
Barry Bonds
last
balls.
season. Well, that's the username, but the player name is Barry Bonds. The username is Barry Bonds Balls, but his player's name is Barry Bonds.
Looks
He
like
was
Peter
actually our
Jackson.
goalie last season for Halifax. Not Halifax, Saskatoon. I'm getting the two mixed up because I'm staring at their logo because they drafted him when he was our player last year.
Seems like he's still inactive.
He was around for a good part of the season, and then he just it was really encouraging because the first goalie we had was inactive, and then he came in and he was updating, and we were like, all right, we got something here, and then it just slowed and then stopped.
Yeah.
I mean, hopefully they can get him to come back because I mean he was a pretty cool guy to have around. It'd be cool if he could come back and he could complete his journey to the pros.
You never know. All it might take is one ping, one email saying, "Hey, you've been drafted."
Oh, for sure.
It's like, because I mean, one guy that like your current goalie, Woody McPine, because I know he was a guy that didn't really seem overly motivated. Like he would do stuff here and there. Like he posted at press conferences asking for questions, and I went and I asked him questions twice so he could do it. But then once Prague drafted him, he absolutely exploded with earn. Like he became like a really consistent earner, and he's like for his draft spot, he's really become a steal, and he's on pace to have a good year again for the M.
Oh boy, I'm gonna figure out who I want here.
Let's see. Oh, I'm in the portal. I can do this.
There's actually,
Send out a shout to clear the portal.
I think thankfully no one's actually lagging the portal this time.
Things are kind of chill.
Okay,
today.
Saskatoon with number 70. We got, I don't even know how to, Cecil Keller. So sorry. I'll have to ask you to how to pronounce that when you come into the locker room.
Yeah. Oh, I
It's
know
another
exactly who that
practice
is.
facility guy, but
No,
last time he claimed was April 20th. So we're going to have to get on for that.
XS Jack is he's been around the block before. He was in Seattle with us for I think only a season.
He was on Ottawa with me one of the years. I don't remember which year specifically, but Jack Lynch, I think, was his first guy.
Yep, that's who we had in Seattle.
And we have Drew Bridges going 71st overall to Mexico City. He also last claimed April 26th. I think that was the first week he was here, and I think that's about all he did. So maybe with some more poking around, you could get him back here. Worth the gamble at this point.
Yeah, at this point, you're just hoping you can get someone back with a ping.
Hope and a prayer at this point.
And these are the last 5 picks of what would normally be our draft.
And then we've got Albert Zednik, 72nd overall.
Gonna be a ringer. I tell you
He's
what.
applied his base TPE, and that's it.
We can work magic.
But that was just very recently, May 10th. The trail hasn't gone completely cold yet. He's not even officially considered inactive at this point.
That'll be helpful for sure.
Worth it at this point. What else are you gonna?
I know this was a relatively tidy stream, considering it was this long of a draft. 2 hours.
Oh, we broke the 2-hour mark again. So we'll probably clean up right around the same time of 2.5. That's pretty good pace. I like it.
I mean, we're basically middle of round 6, but with the added ones.
More realistically, we're probably through 7, pushing 8.
Yeah, we're technically ahead of schedule compared to, like, if we were compared to the last season.
Prior season. That's what I'm saying. Feeling
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, I cannot complain about that at all.
Got Houston on the clock, set with the 73rd overall pick.
Sonnet's getting on to do it now.
Anyone undrafted watching? Is anybody out there? Is anybody alive out there? Still with us after 6
Oh.
rounds?
Apparently there's 20 guys.
What was the peak number at?
I think we peaked around
50.
Yeah, we peaked high.
Wow.
I'll be able to check when Streamlabs sends me an
Like
email
50
after.
or 52 was the highest I saw.
I was very happy and very impressed. Like, that's huge.
Oh,
I
Should I
feel
get
like we got a lot of first gens kind of coming through.
It definitely makes the draft nice. So does this mean I get like recruitment pay
Of
for
course,
this?
Andre. Thanks for hanging out.
thanks for watching, Andre.
Like straight up, pretty much the
It's-
whole draft
It's
too.
good to know
Yeah.
that we're not just here talking to ourselves.
Yeah.
I will be honest. I started playing Binding of Isaac about 30 minutes ago,
That's
so I
not
did
a
work
big
through one
deal.
of those games.
Oh, Big Titty Smitty's also around. Am I allowed to say that? Yeah, probably.
I
You
mean,
can
it's the
say
guy's
that.
name.
You've already said worth.
I shut up.
I wasn't even going for that, but okay.
Yeah, I guess I have said worse recently too.
Hey, good
Not
work
just
getting the
today.
point test done.
Yeah,
Link hurt didn't happen.
yeah, for
Give
sure.
me something to like.
Ooh,
I need to use up my reactions for the day.
Yeah, you're about to get likes. Come
all
on,
right.
toss in the chat.
Houston's got a pick in.
Oh, who did they? Oh,
Ooh.
March. So likely a dead to rights guy, but at least they bring back someone with decent TP.
Yeah, Ken Fury
Appreciate it,
And
Al.
Fury.
he looked really, really active for about a week.
Yep, he came in, hammered out review.
Oh my god, yeah, looking at that. Like March 22nd. Still last week ending. 47 TP, 17, not including the base TP. Then he picked up another 10 after that, and then that was it.
What's up, W Cats? Good to see you, man.
Yeah.
I wish we could have gotten you in Moscow. Or not in
Yeah.
Moscow, in Minnesota.
Welcome to Saskatoon, WCats.
All
We
I'm
needed
gonna
Dan
say
Bailey
is
Jr.
Storm's better. What? Or should I like?
We're gonna have fun this year.
Should I go with a real ding and just say Storm's GM is better?
Mick Wolf is making moves.
He's a good challenger for sure.
It's like he's been planning for this season for a while now.
Yeah.
Because I know he took over, I think, was season 70. He was the guy that came in after Elmbeck passed away.
Yeah.
And didn't really have a whole lot to work with, because I know he was in the process of rebuilding, I guess is the terminology. Like, it's kind of sounds silly for the minors because it's such a radically shorter time span, but it's like even with like 70, then they were working on it. 71, like I got brought in after the draft. It's like, but like almost like a Halifax style like team of waiver pickups.
I know.
And like we like
God.
for a while we were third in the league, and then the sim realized what it was doing and it leveled it out. It's like, but like he's had season 72 set to be the year to compete. It's like, and then like 3 first rounders, all the top goalies. I mean,
I'll have a lot of players.
place. The pieces are in place for Saskatoon to have a really big season.
Jesus Christ, you have a lot of players. All right, here's
Like we've
time for
got
some.
We have 3 full lines, I think.
Hey, on the board finally.
You have 19 skaters.
Doom, I suggest you go release one. Because that, my friend, is an illegal roster if you have 19 skaters.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, I guess not everyone's going to make the team out of training camp this year.
Well, you're welcome, Dune. I expect.
Hopefully, at least one of those is inactive.
I'm sure there's one that is.
Otherwise we could probably take your highest TP player off your hands for you.
Oh yeah.
We'll take twists.
Yeah, just keep them away from Dill and you'll be okay.
So not question time, but I guess discussion time since we're wrapping it up soon.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Hot takes. What is gonna happen this season? Give me some writing concepts for the
Are you
early
talking
weeks.
the M or are you talking the VHL?
So
M, of course, the superior league.
oh, I should give you a really long project. Go back through Minnesota's trade history to when I took over.
Oh.
I've been on a VHLM stream for 2 hours and I've only just said that the VHLM is lit. I'm so disappointed with myself.
It's VHLM. It's lit.
It's lit.
All right, but in all honesty, who do you guys think is going to take it this season?
Oh god, it's such a coin flip. Everyone,
especially with all the goalies, it's really going to throw a wrench into things here because usually before you could look at who got the goalies and those are going to be the teams competing, but now there's honestly half of the league could really stand a chance at winning it all.
Yeah,
and the other 6 teams are going to have goalies too, and they're going to be capable of stealing games.
Exactly, throw some monkey wrenches in the playoffs.
And then you consider that 8 of the 12 are going to the playoffs.
I mean, McPine's clearly going to wall it up this year.
There's a real chance of some upsets this year in the playoffs. The playoffs are going to be real interesting this year.
I think so. I mean, even like Ottawa doesn't have many players, but they have a hell of a lot of capped guys coming back, and if they can get some waiver pickups, and if Hooperama comes through,
yeah, it'll be interesting.
The only teams that are, not really doing anything, it's like Houston, San Diego. What about UConn?
I think next season is when people will have to start worrying about Houston big time.
Yeah, they have.
Sonnet will actually have assets again.
2 firsts, 3 seconds, 3rd, 4th, 4th, 6th.
Yeah, it seems to be a recurring theme that when someone takes over in the M, there's nothing there to work with for a season or 2.
Shh. We
Pretty
don't talk
accurate.
about this.
This is going to be a really interesting season, though. This one might. I really enjoyed last season. Obviously, it kind of bit us in the ass being upset, but there was actually competition.
It was
in
a
the
really
first round.
competitive season. I mean, there was the playoffs before. I think every single round was a sweep.
Yeah, we kind of.
And then last year, you had a lot more competitive teams. Going into the playoffs, it was there was really no one team where you're oh, they're gonna win. It's just a matter of how many games it takes. Yeah. There was serious debate as to who it could actually be.
Yeah. So Andre asks, "What's your top 4 this season?" I mean,
well, bias aside, I think Saskatoon, with all the pieces we have, will be Mississauga's in shape to compete. Mexico City, they're gonna be a force this season too, with all the picks they had.
My thought obviously is going to be Sask, Mex, and Miss are going to be top of the board. After we can get that, it's tough.
Yeah. It's a safe top 3.
Yeah, if we can get our near 100 guys, up to near 200, I think we have a good shot. But
yeah, I mean, especially with McPine, who's got a real shot at being the top goalie in the M if he stays with you.
Exactly.
Because he'll be starting with over 200 compared to last year. I think you drafted him. He had 70 something.
We drafted him
211,
immediately
right?
after.
229.
Took him 8th overall right after IR took the goalie debacle goalie at 7.
Oh, Jesus.
Zamboni driver.
Yep. I'll
He's
be
actually got a
honest.
shot to. He's got a shot to be a good player.
Oh, for sure. He, especially new start, will help. I may or may not have told Banna to smack him harder, and he didn't. So, to be fair, Banna also was like, "You're supposed to tell me not to do that." I'm like, well, seems more like fun to me.
It's like, yeah, because I know, like, spending season 70 with the Marlins, like, we had a situation where we had picked up Casimir Komarov, and for whatever reason, he just wanted absolutely nothing to do with IR. Like, the only way he would communicate would be through VHLM articles where he would
Oh,
just
God.
trash the shit out of it. And, like,
Oh,
oh
I
my
think I remember
God.
reading those.
And we're just like, because, like, I was, like, sticking my neck out there, like, trying to get him in our lineup, get him involved. And I think it wasn't that he really wanted to play, he just wanted to be somewhere else. I just don't think he wanted to be with IR's team.
Yeah.
I mean, and then Saskatoon drafted him last season, and he's been an incredible part of the team. He's in our Discord. Like, we hear from him every day. He does a great job updating, and his player is like over 200 TP to start the season. So he's going to be a real threat on our top line this year. Like, he's going to be a wrecking ball.
So here's an interesting question for them. Who's the sleeper team then?
I think it was mentioned earlier where Ottawa could be the sleeper team, because I mean, which is funny because I mean they just came off of the season that they had. You're like, well, how are they the sleeper team?
Yeah.
I mean, losing all the guys they did, but they've still got pieces left. And then when we start getting new players, they're going to have space to offer those guys. They're going to be able to pick up some gems that way. And then if the goalie they picked up, if they can get him active, get him updating, they could be a team. They might sneak into the playoffs with a lower, but they'll be at the best shape that they could be in when they get to the playoffs. And I could see them upsetting some teams.
A lot of it's riding on Hooperama, their goalie.
Yeah.
Right now he's at 58 TPE. None applied yet, but I don't think that's an issue.
No.
It doesn't really matter at this point, as long as it's applied before he takes the ice.
Yeah, I believe he had said he was waiting for a team because even looking at the like Gustav's guide, which is a little out of date now, he just didn't want to. But the dude's active.
Yeah,
He's
I
all
mean,
over, so
I'm in their locker room and they're talking about it right now. So
yeah, I knew that wouldn't take long.
but I think
I
Ottawa
mean,
could be kind
honestly,
of a sleeper.
it's a smart move, especially for a new player, to just earn what you can, but hang on to it. And then once you get drafted to a team, let them help get your player the way he needs to be.
Well, and especially if you're joining after the deadline for registering players, it's not like you're gonna play a minute in any single game. Otherwise, so
Meanwhile, we're now in round 16.
Yep. Don't worry, we'll jump back to round 7.
Yeah. Whether or not I bother to assign somebody for round 16 will depend on if there is a round 7.
DA, you're giving me my guy.
Okay, so Mats wants it, Cole wants it, Ray
I was gonna
wants
say
it. Yeah, that's fine.
Mott's would definitely want it because he's got 4 picks in the 7th.
so even if it's just to load up on
And
squad and hoping
yeah,
something sticks.
so would Ricer
fine.
because he's got 3.
That's fine. We'll do it.
Yeah. On to the 7th,
So-
boys. Hit the 2.5 hour mark almost.
Ricer's still GPA other than Varicel here, so he's going to get Grace Willis.
It's not a sprint at this point anymore, boys. We're at a full-on marathon.
Yeah. Now's when we get to DGen talk of ask
Now it's
questions and we'll figure out something to talk about.
Was Mats GPA?
Andre says it seems the VHLM
he's
is
still
very
floating around.
volatile season to season in terms of teams
very
rising and
accurate.
falling. Is that accurate? If so, is it a design feature or is it GMs figuring the game out?
Honestly, it has more to do with turnover because I mean, if it is the minor leagues. Like players
Yeah.
aren't being created to play their whole career. Like they can only stay until they hit 250, and then at that point they have to bank that. And then the season after they hit it, they go up to the pros. So you have a lot of roster turnover from year to year. So a team can be like the best in the league and then very easily be the worst the next season because of all the turnover.
Yeah, on average, you lose at least half your roster every season.
And a big thing about that too is the fact that if you're it's more about retention in the M rather than competition. And so if you're doing your job and you're being a good GM, ideally your guys are going to be earning capped, if not then at least like, 6 to 8 per week. And that means they're gone after one, maybe two seasons. So if you're doing your job, then you won't have people sticking around. Now, obviously, there's like some gamesmanship you can get with that, like picking
Yeah.
guys who are lower but going to cap up to 230 by the end of the first season. Then you get them back for another season. But by and large, you're trying to get people out of your team and up into the VHL.
It's like you're actively trying to throw people off your roster.
Exactly. Yeah. If you're trying to make them have the best possible experience.
Yeah.
It's like a mama bird trying to get her fledglings ready to fly.
And obviously all of the GMs around here won't know yet, especially with a lot of them being so new. There's kind of two different ways you can GM. You can either, well, I guess there's three. You can do what D Maximus does and basically never touch your picks and just keep a decent team every single season. You can either run a one up, one down season over and over, where you try and stack all your picks in the one season. You'll go for a cup run, you'll lose half your players, trade anyone remaining, and then pick it up the next season after that. The problem with that one tends to be you can have bad seasons for selling. There's a lot of seasons, especially recently. Like, part of the reason I didn't sell this season is no one was buying. There wasn't a single. I just think there was one buyer for anybody. So instead, I bought, because I knew if there weren't buyers, there's going to be a couple guys willing to sell. But
Yep.
if you, at least in my opinion, trying to run 2 seasons on and then one off is probably the better choice. You kind of stock up for 2 seasons in a row, sacrifice one. You end up with 2 really good seasons, but not necessarily like, oh, this team's going to easily win the cup like Sask did. But
Exactly.
it's
I think it's healthier for the league too to not have it be a complete one-on one-off cycle.
Yeah, it's a delicate balance, especially with the going with the 2 up, 1 down. It's hard to do. Well, it's hard to do anything in this league. It all kind of requires a good bit of luck and some bit of skill of getting and manipulating other GMs to do what you want. Although manipulating is probably a bad word for it, because that just sounds like very, I don't know, anti-fun. You're trying to manipulate the market a bit to get yourself in a better place, but it's hard to do. Even with 11 other teams, it's tough because you're only going to have so many people wanting to compete, wanting to sell, and just wanting to be stable.
I mean, the VHL had that problem a little while ago to where Seattle was having trouble unloading players to get under the cap because there were no buyers.
Yep.
Everybody was rebuilding at the same time. Nobody wanted to pick those guys up.
Yeah, that was interesting. It all worked out. But it was weird.
I swear, like he's a.
What was that? Cut out a bit.
There's like Bana is like a wizard with the cap. It's almost with like I was like it reminds me of like Dan Snyder with the Redskins. I mean, only obviously he's much more successful than Dan Snyder is, but he always seems to have money to keep who he wants to keep. And when he gets those contracts he needs to get rid of, he finds ways to get rid to where he always is able to make the moves he wants to make.
There is a reason I have said Bana is the best GM in the league. Obviously, bias, but 3 cups in 4 seasons and a 67 core that very slowly was chopped away while still making another 2 cups. Like, the dude's a wizard. There's a reason he's been GMing for so long and continues to do so well.
Old thing to do with another VHL GM in the chat.
You haven't been around as a GM now. Like, you were in the past, but
Yeah.
He was actually the GM for my original player in his final season. That was back in season 40.
Who did TA? Was it Calgary that you were on?
Yep.
Yep. Haha, look at that. I know a little bit of my history.
Mm-hmm.
I was Calgary. I had the record for longest GM tenure until Banna broke it a couple seasons ago.
That's when it was fun to
Yep.
be on Calgary.
Yes.
Shh, we don't talk about the Bushido situation.
I actually like want to make Calgary a good franchise again.
We had
Eh,
Victor,
I don't know if that's possible.
Sterling for a year, Slobo for a while,
Oh god.
Flyers and Eagles, I think. Gardy towards the end of his time.
I just noticed pick number 80, Norman McDonald with 0 TP. There's not even a TP value listed for the player.
I'm gonna.
He's gonna be a steal. I'm telling you right now.
Does that mean?
I mean, if
he's-
anything else, he'll be a hysterical guy
His
to have in the
username
locker
is
room.
none, apparently.
Oh yeah, he's completely broken.
Yeah, he deleted his profile, I think.
Yeah, and he has no TP banked for whatever reason. That's interesting, I guess. Okay, that's kind of cool.
I mean, if I'm any of the guys being drafted after him, I'd be taking that as motivation.
It's a
Oh, yeah.
fancy
Like-
way to pass.
It's like, I mean, yeah, like you were passed over for a guy that doesn't exist.
Yeah, you-
Passes on
guy wasn't even allowed to get his starting TP. I don't know. It's interesting. The VHL's gonna be interesting. What a name for a follow. I feel like someone had to have created that just for that. Meme man, 69420.
What a
Hi,
guy.
Hogan.
Yep.
That's a good bet. That's a good bet at this point. DA, you're not supposed to remind him that the guy's ineligible.
No, because if he takes him, then I have to chase Josh down.
No, then you have to chase Josh down and take his 3rd round pick.
Or worse yet, you'd have to go find.
Regardless, I
Will.
don't feel like chasing Josh
That's
down.
that's fine. I'll chase Josh down if it means he loses the 3rd round pick.
Wait, what happened?
All you gotta do to get Josh to show up is tag him in a post that says that Jacques LaFontaine deserved Rookie of the Year over Rock.
Oh god.
Oh,
That
I
will get
feel
him to
bad
turn up.
for Slapshot though.
yeah,
on
for
that.
sure. I even reached out to him privately because I was obviously one of the vocal voices in general chat fighting with Big Mac and Jubas somewhat. So I reached out to him after, like, nothing against you, man. And he's like, yeah, no worries. He was all
It's like
chill
you
about
could-
it.
Like you could tell that like he was kind of like stuck in the middle with it. He's like, guys, stop this.
Yeah. He was like, it's fairly obvious I'm not going to be Rookie of the Year. And then they wanted to fight the All-Star game. And there was... Fonzie made a joke. Like, he made a joke about how, like, oh, LaFontaine shouldn't get in when there's, like, so many other guys. Obviously, because Fonzie wasn't going to get in. But it was a joke, and then all of a sudden, other people took it seriously. And then everyone hated on Calgary for putting LaFontaine in, which, like, I get it. The guy wasn't an all-star. We shouldn't necessarily allow the all-star.
To be fair,
but-
we did something similar with that season 70 when a Halfkey or Ben Halfkey McLovin was the GM for USA for the World Junior Championship. Like we all loved him because he did a great job. We won the gold medal. And then he was on the all-star ballot. So I started putting out the link and tagging everybody like let's come on, let's go vote him and get him in the all-star game as a thank you for what he did for us. He made it.
Oh yeah. And
To be
I
fair, I
don't
mean, he
think it's
he
bad.
did deserve to get in because it wasn't just the USA players who voted him in.
Yeah, I didn't have anything against it. Like I totally was like, it's kind of whatever. Like, should he be in? Not really. He wasn't an all-star. But to go and like go out of the way to go like, no, this isn't right. No, come on. It's not worth it.
I,
It's
I'm
fun.
I'm curious as to know if he's the first player to ever actually withdraw from an All-Star game. I don't know if that's ever happened before.
I would think probably not.
I thought
That-
Blade did it earlier in her career.
That knowing her, that wouldn't
Possibly.
surprise me.
I mean, I'm surprised she didn't this time. She already knows how
Yeah, she
painful
wanted
it
to.
is.
She wanted to, but she didn't bother to log on the site to actually do it.
Yeah.
It's like she was saying it, but I'm like, no, I mean, come on, your player was like ended
Yeah,
up
if
being like
anyone
the
deserved to
MVP and
be
stuff
in
like
it
that.
this year,
If there's one goalie based on regular season statistics that's an all-star, it was Brick Wall.
See, the only problem with that is we know how the All-Star game goes, and it was proven when she got slaughtered in like 8 shots. What is it, 5-on-8 or
For
something?
whatever reason, the way that he makes the players for the All-Star game just does not work for goalies.
Oh
The
no,
sim engines are
Or
just
it's
so
either
wildly
that,
different.
well, part
or
of it
it
is
is.
design,
I
I
think
think.
it might be the settings he's using
Yeah,
too.
he does set it so it's more like the actual All-Star game, though clearly it was a little high this season.
It looked like a football score.
Well, yeah, because in last season it was like 10-12 or something. It
Yeah, because
was
I think
close.
like Funk was just getting completely shelled in the first period, and then Eagles comes in and is like, for whatever reason, like Eagles is stopping everything, and the team gets back into it, and then they switch them back out, and then it started all over
Funk
again.
was perfect for the first 10 minutes of the first and the first 10 minutes of the third, and then got lit up. True, goalies do get lit up in All-Star games, mainly because they don't try, which is why I never cared. It's like, yeah, it was nice to watch the goalie go, oh, he made a big save. It's like, I know I'm gonna get lit up. I know going in there I'm gonna get
No,
cranked.
it's
all for
cool
fun.
to see like your player like rendered on something like that and like
Yeah.
seeing them in action. Like especially like when it was done with like 19 and so like hearing Doc Emmerich go crazy because you made a save.
Oh yeah, it's lots of fun. There's a reason I
It's
still
a
harass
it's
him.
it's a shame that he couldn't get it to where you could have, especially with like 20 with the special guest, have Snoop Dogg show up for the second period.
Yeah.
That would have been a treat.
Oh, that'd be funny. Yeah, it was fun. Like it's
Speaking of
nice to be in
NHL
there.
20, yeah, I feel like EA really dropped the ball with that game this year.
They've dropped the ball everywhere. CA.
No. It was something I was going to bring up back when you guys were talking about overloading votes for one particular person. Doomsday, you might remember this. When Cuffy was Calgary captain, we tried to get him to win top leader. You remember that?
We were actually allowed to vote on that. I thought that the Grim Johnson was a board voted thing.
It's gone back and forth multiple times. Sometimes it's been public voted, sometimes it's been board voted. At that particular
'cause
time, it was public vote to narrow it.
Both times that I wanted it was a board vote.
Yeah, it was public vote to narrow it down to like 10 people, and then of those 10 people, it was another public vote to narrow it down to 3, and he was third, but the board didn't put him on the ballot anyway.
Ruthless.
I mean, I'm pretty sure I told them to take LaFontaine off the Rookie of the Year ballot. Just because,
Like if they would have held the voting for that in the first quarter of the season, there's a good chance he actually wins it. Because like Davis had not taken off at that. Like Davis didn't really take off until the second half of the season.
Yeah, but there's
like the first half of the season, it would have been LaFontaine or me. But
Well-
then both LaFontaine and me completely sucked the
Exactly.
second half of the year, and then Davis just exploded.
Well, obviously, nothing against LaFontaine, but looking at the ballot, there was still better skaters after Davis that I would have preferred to see on. But it was more of a like Hextall beat him. Hextall was the better goalie. The 40 wins is great. Who got them? You were 0.91 and Hextall's out here 0.915 with 15 less wins. Well, who played better? Hextall did.
Hext also faced far more shots.
Yep. But it was kind of like, again, nothing against you, man, but there's just, like, even on ballot wise, I had 2 other guys I wanted to put forward as skaters before I would have put forward, especially as a second year 550 TP player. Like, he wasn't coming in as a 300 guy. Like,
Speaking of 550, I just hit that today.
yeah. Like, could you imagine if we put Spyro in next season? Because now Spyro's going to be a starter.
When he's had like at least 2 seasons of being a
Yeah.
backup.
I think he spent like 14 in 10 games or something. But should he still be a rookie? Because he hasn't played a season. It's the I don't like setting a precedent when that precedent could get bullied to shit. It just seems
like
unbalanced.
it sucks for the goalies because
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh yeah.
a lot of times like when you're like a goalie making it out of the M isn't gonna be starting their rookie season, and if they are, they're gonna be on a bad team that's getting demolished. So like, I can understand that point where it's like it's tough for a goalie to win the Christian Stolzschwager Trophy.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I don't know if I pronounced it right, but I sure
Yeah.
think I did.
It's
Stolzschwager.
Schloessenegger. I don't know.
Stolzschwager.
Everything's
I'm
Too
close.
German. I
German
should
for
be
my
able to
taste.
pronounce that.
And with that, the draft is officially over.
Wow.
Only 2 hours and 44 minutes as of, come on, now. So, not too shabby. I had extra 15 minutes on the last draft. Well,
With like a
Also
good round
significantly
and a
more
half
picks.
on it.
yeah, with another, what is it, 13, 14 picks? 14 picks, actually, yeah. That was impressive. We got through that
And
at a
had
good pace.
good, still had quality people going in the 6th round too.
Yeah, for sure. Well, thank you all for watching the stream, sticking around for this long.
Yeah, thanks everybody.
It was a pleasure being your host. Again, I'm Razor along with Doom, Hatter, Cole, and DA. I hope you all have a good night.